Hi, your mic's alive.
Now Tuesday, August 28, 2008, 123, 5:31 p.m. We're calling the Flint County Board to order. Roll call.
Carol McIntosh.
Present.
Joseph King.
Present.
Linda Booz.
Present.
Patrick Julian.
Present.
Michael Hutchison. William Harris.
Present.
Paige Russo. Trishelle Bowman.
Five present. Two absent.
Yeah.
Got seven. Got seven on the board.
It's 8.
Eight. Russo. Okay, so we got three vacancies.
Two.
We only got eight.
Trishelle.
They confirmed, they confirmed Ward 6.
We got six. Well, okay, but it's not, okay. We don't have a record.
It's just a
yet, so
blank.
they haven't sworn
Oh,
in.
okay.
Right.
So that's not a okay. Don't get too. Okay, is that the one ready to give a word of prayer?
Dear kind and eternal Father, we thank you for this day that you have given us. We thank you for life, we thank you for health, and we thank you for strength. Now, God, we ask that you grant us wisdom and that you give us knowledge as we proceed with the business of this city and to uphold the standards of this city as chartered and to represent its people as we do so. And God, we give you thanks and we give you praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank God. Amen.
Amen. Next item on the agenda, public speaking. There's anyone from the public wish to speak? There's anyone from the public wish to speak? Is there anyone from the public need to speak? Here none. Move to 5. Member respond, no public speaking. So we go. Move on to open remarks. First, I want to thank everybody for getting here today. So we need to go on that. There's some things that we have to deal with today that I will get into later on in the agenda. A couple of them have to do with some things that was brought up in the city council. And both of them, what I have discussed was concerning basically me. And one thing I have that is about something that the board had already made that took care back in 2020. And I will get more into it as we move through the agenda. What I want to do is move the next couple hours item through. As we have Mr. Smith here, and I want him to get through with what he has to so we can move on with the meeting. So with that, I will ask for approval. Entertain approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda as it is.
Is that say move, is that support?
Julia, did you second?
My second, yes.
Oh, you said, I didn't hear him,
Sorry
sorry.
about that.
Okay, then the move and second, to accept the agenda as is. Vote. Do the roll call,
Carol McIntosh.
accept the agenda.
I'm still reading the agenda, so can you bypass me and let me finish looking it up?
Joseph King.
Yes.
Linda Booz.
Yes.
Patrick Julian.
Yes.
William Harris.
Yes.
Paige Russo.
Yes.
Trishelle Bowman.
Yes.
Carol McIntosh.
That's quick, yeah.
This agenda.
I'm looking.
I mean, we don't-
I'm looking.
But if
If I see it.
what we do, if you need more time, just, ask for it before we move to the vote. I'll second. Now we entertain a motion to approve, the minutes last meeting.
I make a motion that the minutes be approved for Tuesday, August the 8th, 2023 as written. As presented.
And move. And
Second.
the second, anyone need more time?
I had something on the minutes, but Linda Thompson wasn't here, so she didn't second the motion.
I did, just not change. Which one was that?
It's a motion by William Harris for Attorney Bowling to be the temporary secretary. That was right, Linda Booz.
Oh, it was Linda Booz, yes.
Yeah.
And you told me that. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
thank you.
Anything else? I think that was second.
Mr. Mayor, she seconded.
I did.
The second. There's been, ARPA move it second to accept the minute with changes. The last meeting, roll call.
Carol McIntosh,
Yes.
Joseph King,
Yes.
Linda Booz,
Yes.
Patrick Julian,
Yes.
William Harris.
Yes.
Paige Russo,
Yes.
Michelle Bowling.
Yes.
Okay. Next item on the agenda would be, we have Mr. Smith here from HR. He's going to give us an update on the application for the Ombudsman. And then a question that, well, we won't go in a question, but he got a lot of information he want to share. And he has a bit put out, and I want to say we want to keep this. I know some of them have from the last HR when we did last Ombudsman, some members who did for that still have some anger that we still carry. We don't want to put that on Mr. Smith, because it's a different one that he's his own man. That's what we went through before. We put that aside and let Mr. Smith have he's standing on his own feet. With that, Mr. Smith, you're on board.
All right, thank you. I don't know where to stand in here, there's cameras all over the place, so I'm
There
gonna
you
stand
go.
on this corner here.
Wherever you want it, you want to stand, sit, or whatever.
I can sit, and you probably, you're not, you won't be, you guys don't mind.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Table or here?
So you sit in where you want it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. Appreciate it. I brought folders with information updates on the ombudsman positions, so that's right. And here you go. And at the end of this meeting, we have to collect them back. All right, and
You got one more?
yes. What do you have in front of you? I want to kind of go through it and kind of explain. On the left side of your folder, you have the job description. Job description is what was approved by the Ethics and Accountability Board before it was posted. And so these are all of the things that the Ethics and Accountability Board said we want as an ombudsman person. So that's the job description on the left. On the right, these are the most qualified applicants. We narrowed it down to three of the most qualified applicants. And we listed them as applicant A, There are no names associated with these applicants in here. All of their qualifications, except for name, address, phone number, email, and all that is listed here. So these are the qualifiers. I wanted to give you enough information to look at the qualifications and say, you know, yes, this is a good candidate, or it's not. And we can continue to search, or we can say, we'd like to start interviewing or set up interviews with these 3 applicants or 2 of these applicants, whatever you decide. In addition to that, on the left side, I had a sheet in the back, and you'll see it's like this on the left side. This is merely, it's a collection of what most municipalities around the state of Michigan would look for in an ombudsman. It's including Detroit and a lot of your other municipalities. It is not all inclusive, but it's saying, you know, overall, this is what an ombudsman would do, and this is what you would probably want the person to do. Whomever this applicant or whomever you choose, you want them to come in and be able to do this running, really. So it's just for your information, and that's it. There's no, you have to do anything there, but it's just a bit of information in addition to the application. If you want to go through this on applicant A, you can start with, I put a summary sheet in there. The summary sheet just said that of the qualifications, the MERs, or the minimum entrance requirements, this person met those things that are checked next to their name, next in the box there. So you can say, you know, they either have a degree, they have 5 years of experience, they have the ability and willingness to work with both legislative and executive branches of government. He came up with that, not saying that this is exact, but it's saying their experience indicates they've got that kind of experience, that they should be able to do that. And the only thing that's going to tell is when you interview these people, those are the questions you're going to, you know, whatever questions you choose, those are the things you're going to try to find out. Do they have that experience? Are they able to do the research? Are they able to do the investigative reports and report back in a systematic way, organized way, follow up on that? Do they know about the laws? Do they know, you know, what they can and can't do? That's what you're looking for, you know. Unfortunately, you don't have, most municipalities don't have the ability to come in and train an ombudsman from scratch and say, you must follow up on this, and you must give the board reports where you are in a timely manner, organized, structured, you know. That's what you're hoping to find out when you interview this person. And those are questions that you should formulate. As we go through this process, the only thing I want to talk to you about would be, and not only, but it's one of the important things is what type of questions, not what questions, but you have to stay away from questions that lead to race, whether they have a babysitter, whether they have transportation, LGBTQ, those are all things that are off limit. The Civil Rights Commission, Fair Labor Standards, these are all things that limit those kind of questions, you know, weight, race, any of those things, political affiliations and things like that. These are things you have to stay away from. These are things that can get the city sued, get the Ethics and Accountability Board sued, and even the individual members. And so we have to be very careful about that. So, you know, but, you know, when you start formulating your questions, just make sure you stay away from those. And if you'd like, I can even provide a document that's from Civil Rights and Fair Labor Standards that says these are the types of questions you shouldn't ask. Whenever you're ready, I can do that if you wish. So, and I say that, you know, and let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I've been in this business a long time. I've been in this business almost 30 years. I know my hair doesn't show it, but it's a long time. And most of my career has been with, in a leadership role for HR, for corporations around the country. So I've either been in litigation, I've been in courts, I've been at, you know, I think the highest level where sometimes even, you know, I was the only person at the table that either looked like me or had an HR background like me or knew those types of things. And that's, you know, what I'm trying to bring here. Make sure that we we don't have anybody questioning us after this is over with. The first application on there, you can, take a look at your leisure. And I'm going to leave these with you to look at, but Mr. King's going to collect them afterwards. I don't want to rush you to take a look now and get back to me in 5 minutes. But take a look. The application and the person, professional objectives, you can go through that. They look at their education. But the key thing here is look at the experience, the work experience that this person brings. Civil rights, a mediator for civil rights. That's I think that's an important factor to look at because they're used to litigation, they're used to mediation, they're used to doing the reports and doing the research. You look at the State of Michigan Department of Civil Rights. You go on, State of Michigan, again, Department of Civil Rights Contract Coordinator. You're used to looking at contracts and what a contract should look like and getting back information out of that. State of Michigan Civil Rights Commission again, and on and on and on. So please take a look at those qualifications and their affiliations as you go on. In addition to that, this is their resume for this person. I've attached to that person's their application. When they apply for this job on the website, they have to fill out an application process. And I printed that off too for your review. So, take a look at that. The same thing with applicant number 2 and applicant number 3, the same A, B, and C. You'll see that that information is the same.
Okay. Are they ranked according to preference or no particular order?
No, I didn't rank them. I just, applicant A, B, and C, that's it. I wanted you to be able to take a look. I don't want to try to influence your decision based on, what my staff's reviewed and what I've looked at. I want you to be able to look at it and determine that this is the best person, the best fit for you. And again, when you go through the interview process, the other key part of that is you take notes. Make sure you take clear notes. And we need to collect the notes afterwards. You can keep copies of them if you want, but we need the notes. And the reason you need that is because if you have any applicant that says, I didn't get a fair interview and I wasn't treated fairly, our notes will prove that we interviewed each one and we took notes and we kept the notes. That's the first thing that Fair Labor Standards will ask. That's the first thing a judge will ask. That's the first thing any Civil Rights Commission will ask doing if it's a litigation or lawsuit. All right.
I notice there's no address.
No.
Okay.
No.
Are these individual applicants local?
You have Michigan applicants here. So local, there is, I think, 1 or 2 that are Michigan, Flint, and I think another is Michigan. But, that's not unusual because for this level of position that you're looking for, you will get applicants that come from outside the city of Flint. And it could be from Detroit area, it could be from Lansing or whatever. But that's what you want anyway. You want to have a very diverse group of applicants.
If I may, the reason there's no name and address at this meeting, he's here to give us the information we have. Once we move on, we will to the next process, or when we present as we go through the interviewing process.
And I can
We
speak to
don't want
that.
to get names and stuff out of town. And this meeting, they slip out. And everyone is on social media right now waiting on something to slip out. So
And the other reason is that when an applicant applies for a position, that's all they're doing. They're applying for a position. Their employer may not know that they're out looking for a job. And if their name's mentioned, we're ruining their opportunity to stay where they're at. But once they're being identified, once they're identified that you are going to be interviewed, we have to ask them that question and make them aware that your name will be released and it will be part of the interview process. Once they've identified this is who they want to interview, are you comfortable with that? If they say yes, then we'll continue. If they say no, they're not in the process, then they won't go forward.
So, how many applicants were there?
We had 14 applicants, 14 that applied, and we had a total of, I think, 8 applicants that actually met the minimum. Of the 8, we narrowed it down. These are the 3 most qualified, not in order, but these are the 3 most qualified.
And when you say we, who is we?
And we is my staff. My staff's the HR recruiting team.
So the HR staff recruiting team has basically came up with this process that we're,
It's a normal process. It's not, we came up with it. This is a regular process for,
well, I'm just asking, is this a process that you're implementing? Because I've been here and I've never heard, which I'm not saying anything is wrong with it, I'm just
Sure.
asking you a question.
no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, out of the 8, and I understand these are the top 3 out of the 8. There's a possibility that we can still take a look at the other 5 candidates.
Sure, I can bring that to your, maybe you can have it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also you think, and this is just me for transparency, I think it would be a good idea if we saw the ones that were disqualified, just so that we understand,
That's
you know,
right.
what disqualified, you know,
Yeah.
which one of the minimum standards that, you know, kept them from being,
What disqualified?
that knocked them out of the running. That's just-
Absolutely. We'll provide that. And what normally disqualifies them, they didn't meet the minimum qualifications that's listed on the job description. They either didn't have the degree, they didn't have the years of experience, they didn't have something that was mentioned that it had to be the minimum qualification.
Okay.
That's the only thing that would eliminate.
Okay.
But I'll provide that in a package very similar to this. Ones that did not, the names will be deducted from that also. So, but you can take a look, absolutely.
I have a question on C. My packet doesn't have a resume.
Yeah, and that's, what I mentioned, only 2 of them had resumes. And that's, they don't always have to provide a resume when they're applying online, and as long as they're doing an application.
Okay, because I thought I saw here where it said that the resume was not with it, that was a disqualifying objective. It said if your resume was not with it, and it said something about not accepting attachments. An applicant must complete and submit electronically to the City of Flint's website for consideration. Please be sure to complete the application in full. Written samples and resumes may be uploaded with your application but will not be accepted in lieu or of a fully completed application and will not be considered for qualifying credit.
Well, it means the application, if it's not completed, won't be accepted. The resumes may be uploaded with the application. All applicants don't always have a resume attached to the application. The application is a synopsis of the resume anyway. The resume is a helpful tool, but it's not a conclusive tool.
Failure to attach required documents, i.e. transcripts, resume, etc., will result in disqualification for consideration.
Any other questions?
What would be the next interview process?
You select whomever out of the applicants that you would like to interview. Then we would notify the applicants that they're been scheduled for interview and that their name will be made public. And if they would like to proceed with the application process, then we'll notify you that all 3 will. You let us know whatever date and time, place you want to interview, whomever your interview committee is. And we go from there. You can set it up and you start the interview process, interview the way you want to interview, and take notes, and you make a decision whomever you want to hire.
Anyone else have a question?
Now, just for clarification, in regards just to the section that Ms. McIntosh read. Excuse me. Does that mean that, like for instance, because a resume was not uploaded, it does not allow the individual who would be doing the hiring process to know a lot more about that individual, and that leads up to disqualification? Or are you talking, or is it meaning that because it wasn't uploaded, I'm sorry, you're automatically disqualified? I just wanted a little bit more clarity.
No, there isn't an automatic disqualifier. One of the things you have to understand is that the market we're competing in today is harder than it's ever been before. To not have a resume uploaded with an application process is not unusual. We're competing with everyone out there. These people are applying for Ombudsman, are not just applying for Ombudsman, they're applying for other positions, maybe in government or municipality or private sector. The bottom line is that everything they put down on the application is going to be validated before they're hired. The background check will validate whether they do have that, whether they have education, whether they have a work record that's validated and can be supported. All of that's done by a valid background check before these people are offered the final job. The offer is made contingent upon successfully completing the background investigation. You get executives that apply for positions and hire, and you don't always get a resume. The key to it isn't the resume, it's the application. The key is the background check that's done after this is completed.
Okay. And the background check, is it just city and state, or does it go federal?
Federal. It goes complete. The background check's federal. It's and if this person worked in Timbuktu or the Hawaiian Islands or England or whatever, the background check's going to find out whether they worked there or they didn't. And this is the key, it takes about 2 weeks to get a thorough background check completed, but it's worth it. And it's not something that we do internally. We actually hire an external service to do that because they've got the qualifications, the tools, the communication process to do that background, whether it's criminal, whether it's work, whether it is psychological, whatever that we're asking for, they have the ability to do that.
Do you ask for psychological?
We don't always, but I think we should.
I think you should too, in today's society.
Correct. And that's something we're exploring that right now because we do it automatically with the police and fire, so we do that. That's our police and fire department, they go through a psychological background check before they're brought on board. But the city hasn't, and I'll tell you, most organizations haven't did the psychological background for every position. I worked in the hospital system for 15 years, director of HR, and even in the hospital system, the only ones that did psychological background checks were people that would direct patient care in certain patient care positions, and that so.
Now, also, will a financial background check be done just for the simple fact that their director will be handling money?
Absolutely. We can make that a requirement in that, so I'll make sure that we check that off. We normally do that to make sure that there are no, with the criminal record check, there's no fraudulent activity done in any of that. And our criminal background check goes back years, so it's not like it's only 2 years or whatever. It goes back, 15, 20 years, in some cases even further than that. But we can do the ones that are for people in accounting, we do it. For people working in finance, we do it automatically to make sure that they are, trustworthy and haven't had any indications of theft or anything in the background or fraudulent activity. They've been fired for inability to manage money in their organization.
Any more questions? Mr. Smith? Any more questions, Mr. Smith?
This is good.
Mr. Smith, appreciate you taking time out to come and answer all our questions. If we have any more, I know you're always available to take them. Any member of this board having a question, reach out first to Mr. Smith, he's always available. I found is what I contact him. And he's always been, great partner above board with me. I can't speak for no one else, but he has been with me. So
I'm available for questions, my phone's available. People, everybody else knows, it's how you call us 24 hours a day, Saturday and Sunday, late at night, and ask the union. We just went through 7 contracts with the union, settling 7 contracts with the union. And, I mean, we negotiated all through the night sometimes, and I still get calls. I don't care. I mean, you know, I got one shot at this. You know, I owe nothing to anybody. I'm not political. I'm not on anybody's team. I didn't come here on anybody's team. I didn't come here with a, you know, wish that, you know, if I got this, I'll do this. I didn't. They came to me and asked me. And, you know, I can't get into that. I can't. I was telling Mr. King that long time ago, I just can't play that game. I can't. HR is a field. You get into it and you do it and you stay in it because it's honorable, but it's the right thing to do. I can't cut a deal. And if you don't believe me, ask the mayor. If anybody knows him, call him up and ask him, you know, can you get ahead to cut a deal or anything? It doesn't work. Anyway. Give me a call if you have any additional questions. I'll be more than happy to answer those. If I don't have the answer, I'll get it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Smith.
okay, very good. We will get these back to you. After everybody review them. Okay. With that, we'll move on to Ombudsman update.
No big changes since the last meeting, but at the end of your packet, you'll see where the highest complaints are. And of course, beginning, and this is from July 1st to August 1st, and the highest is with the city council complaints, water department complaint, police complaint, property damage complaint, and then bottom, that's just kind of reiterating what's up top. But since the last 2 weeks, what's been going on is basically just closing out and finalizing cases that are already come to the ombudsman's office. A lot of them too, with the speeding, you know, getting a lot of people like, when are they gonna put the speed humps up, because I'm tired of people speeding through the community, issues like that. Stuff that's been able to be resolved in the office level.
Question from
Ms. Little,
Yes,
what's this say, values down here? Is there a number?
yes,
That's just,
that's just a part of the report as far, it values, because you see, it's not even showing category, but that's something I'll ask with the, you know, with the software company, because we still.
you're using a certain software?
I'm actually, yes, the actual software that I enter the complaints in, so it can generate a report.
Oh, it automatically?
Yes, if I request it, I'll generate a report.
Is that raised up?
Can you?
It's called C-Click Fix. It's a database that was created just for, like, when you look at we'll see it in just a minute, when you look at the complaint sheet, this is how it's put in and everything, and this is each complaint. And then it just gathers that information, because each complaint has a title to it, like city council, blight, or however. So when it's time for report period, I just hit report, download it, and put it in a table, so you all can see what the majority of the complaints and stuff are.
Have you had any problems in your office? Outside of just the report, just a regular update, you know, what's going on in the office? Have you had any complaints or any issues that you've been dealing with?
No, nothing that, you said as far as like internal office and some of those issues. No, I was explaining to Mr. King, the towel has been replaced. That was missing in the back office.
Mm-hmm.
And we were getting a little episode of bumblebees. I was coming to work and finding dead bees, but they fixed that. And they changed the port to the printer. Remember, they were saying the wiring needed to be replaced, so they hadn't gotten in contact with the electrician yet. So we have a wire going across to get us yesterday, a wire going across the floor to the office where the analyst was, and the big cleaner's back working. So I had no complaints this week.
Did they handle your mouse issue?
We haven't seen any, nor has Blight. So that's a good thing. Nobody has, the traps are laid out outside the office, the little stick glue traps. Nobody's seen it. And I asked Blight the other day that they had any, seen any. So far, no.
Then is it still raining in your office?
They said that, when I say they maintenance, that probably was a one-time occurrence. They did look at the windows and tighten them up, but because of how the wind was blowing that day, it has never happened. They don't anticipate doing so, but if they do again, by the windows being like antiquated, the only thing they could probably do is like tape them from the outside, in which the weather would probably, when it gets cold and snow, that probably would mess that up. But they did give me some feedback because once he got down there, I asked him about everything.
Okay.
And Mr. King had stated that perhaps with the bumblebees may have started a nest, or what was it, Mr. King, up there? That's probably why I'm seeing a hive. That's probably why I'm seeing them. Some of them moving, and but most of them seeing them on the floor. They're dead. I just pick them up, but they just put the panel up like Friday. So I saw one yesterday. Dead. It was dead, but it was still in there. So
What about the purchasing issue and the,
I haven't heard anything about the e-card. No, ma'am. I haven't heard anything about it.
what about your salary?
I haven't seen. I'll know something tomorrow afternoon. As far as when they send us the statement, you know, of what the paycheck is going to be. Yeah. No, just when they send out the your direct deposit slip comes a day early. So I won't know. Nobody has said anything to me, but I'll know Wednesday afternoon. You know, when they send that out.
And that's also including your back pay as well. Anything?
I haven't heard anything. No.
Okay.
I had some type of discussion on that, and we might not, we would know. I have asked to get that information. There's a number that this, and that is the, and I will get it from Davina. The number that was saying her salary, was they're telling me that's not it. So we can compare that and make sure the number that we think we are looking at, my understanding is much lower. Without facts, I can't see it without coming from the county division. Payroll, pay up there. I request that information from the board.
So they told you our number was wrong, but they didn't tell you what the right number was.
No, they told me what the number was, but and they told me what her number would be, but it was something that we were working with. They're telling me that we'll go public with it. They're telling me there was a 70,000 is okay. $70,000. I have no.
I don't believe it.
Well, it's not for. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but when the payroll would show that, it would show, and I'm sure the clerk knows what to make. She's been paid, so.
You've already put a
Have you
request
spoken
in.
with her? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I haven't spoke with her. This is something I spoke with today. I'm gonna put a request. I had Mr. Smith to look into it, and he gave me some numbers, but I'm going to.
Mr. Smith, who, this guy over HR?
Just now.
And he had paperwork that they presented to him.
That's
We have our own right to look at that. I'm not gonna, without having any evidence, I'm not gonna say someone is lying on truth. I'm not gonna go out there like that. When we get evidence, then.
well, of course, but I'm just saying what in my heart.
Oh, yeah,
Making
well,
facts.
Well, we all been taking the number. I know we were thinking, and that is.
And the reason that I say that is because I could have sworn at one point when we discussed, Inez at one point was at over 80, which that doesn't mean that she had been here a long time, is the only reason I said that out of reaction. Of course, I know that we need to give fact, and it would seem like something like that would be public knowledge because she's a public servant to the people, helping us with our voting and everything, so that shouldn't be no big hard to get. You know, I'm just saying, you know, if I had to bet a dinner on it or something, but I can't bet because I'm on here, but if I was a betting woman, I'd let you buy me a crab leg dinner since you're, no, I'm kidding. Well, let me know what you come up with.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm not gonna oppose things I've never allowed to prove.
Is there any reason
That's
we
the
can't
information
call,
I have.
contact the finance chair directly?
Right.
Is there any reason we can't call the finance director? Who would have the
No,
number?
this information I got just late this evening.
Because you're speaking very elusively, can you be a little more direct? I mean, you kind of,
I'm sorry.
I mean, because you're speaking kind of elusively, like you're saying, I spoke to someone and they kind of told me. And,
I spoke to Mr. Smith, and I had asked him to get that information from me, and he showed me what he had. And I explained to him those numbers is not the number that this board thinks is working with. And he had a printout of what was sent to him. Now, that was sent from accounting, I guess, a payroll. So I can't vouch to that credit, so I won't even try. Yeah, Mr. Back.
I agree with Secretary Trishelle. We've spent a lot of time fighting for Ms. Little to get her money, and Ms. Little has been showing up faithfully, and Ms. Little has been waiting patiently. And now you're saying you talk to HR and you think he's getting it from accounting and maybe this and maybe that, and we can go directly to finance and tell them we need that information because it concerns her pay. And that's the law. It says she's supposed to get that. So it's not like we're doing anything wrong to ask up front. I think we need to be very intentional and very upfront when we're doing our dealings. And I think she's waited too long.
Okay, and I understand what you're saying, I appreciate it, but that's a conversation that me and what is that title? Acting
finance director.
No, acting
Temporary secretary.
Temporary
Oh,
secretary. And Mr. Harris, that was brought up with the conversation that we had also with the mayor.
correct.
And we were told that they would get to the make sure it happened. And they could speak more on that. Mr. Harris, you can go ahead and speak.
According to government salaries, it says in 2020, Inez Brown, who was the city clerk, was employed at the city of Flint and had an annual salary of $104,000.
Okay, so I want crab leg dinner, dessert, appetizers.
Had an annual salary of $104,128 according to public records.
Yes.
This salary is 211% higher than average and 440% higher than the median salary in the city of Flint. Now, this is public record.
That's what
And we were told, and I'll just be honest with you, that was one of the reasons why Ms. Dorsey quit, was because she was saying that her salary was nowhere near equal to the city clerk's at that time, which should have been equal. So I'm just being honest with you. If Ms. Brown was making $104,000, it's impossible for the city clerk to be making the same 70 now, and she was no longer acting, the council voted her in.
However, we can't jump to the conclusion that that's what
Right.
the current salary is.
Right.
I mean, that
Right.
gives you a frame of mind, but
that does not have any bearing on what her actual salary is.
That's true.
So we don't know what her salary is.
Right, but it's too easy to find out. It's,
Right.
this
And
is
that's what I suggest we do, get right down to it.
We can speculate all day.
Well, let's
all
not,
day.
let's not shuck and
We
jive.
had to do facts.
Right, let's not shuck and
So,
jive, let's just get right down to it.
I'm just presenting information that I received today. We was all working on that number somewhere else. I've been leaving that number somewhere else. You draw some numbers here that is somewhere else, so I'm not, we will get those numbers.
Mr. Chair, can the board send a written request to the acting finance chair and request the salary of the city clerk?
Good, that might be the best way, and then we get a.
Well, should you be making that a motion, Secretary Tricia?
So moved.
That's temporary secretary.
Right. That temporary on my name.
Ain't no, we know.
I've been moving second to send a request to the acting CFO for pay for
It
the.
needs to go to the city attorney.
As well as the city attorney then. Can we make an amendment to the motion? After the vote?
Why does it need to go to the city attorney?
Because that's who gives the document. That way they go through that department to make sure that it's tracked. The finance manager doesn't do salaries. So the salary, and she should have a contract. All contracts would be in the legal department. So it would be that her contract is what they would give you on what her fringe benefits if she has, and her entire package.
So I'll make a friendly amendment to my own motion to send it to the CFO and CC the city attorney's office.
Support.
We have amendment to the previous motion and the support. And
It's like a top support.
not one day,
You already.
yeah. Any discussion? Any discussion on the motion?
I will say this. I myself saw paperwork. I have to go and look for it and find it. But I saw paperwork that stated what the city clerk would be starting at. And it was around $83,000. Now, that was in the job description. So everybody, we're talking about, I'm just letting you know, I did find the paperwork and I saw it. I can go back and I can try to find the paperwork again because it was given to me, but I did see the hike increase.
Would it be in the resolution that approved her being hired?
I'm sure it would be.
Yeah.
So
We need all
let's
that.
ask for that too.
Yep, let's ask for it. So amendment to the amendment?
It was that
The motion.
the city council voted on it.
Okay.
And contracts. In fact, that's one reason I asked Mr. Smith, find out something, because they're supposed to know
Yeah.
what the pay is for each grade
Yeah.
in the city. But we had a motion there, and I think we probably, it's probably gonna be the quickest way that we're gonna spend a lot of time beating it, and as I say, speculating on what it should be.
Excuse me, so good.
Go ahead.
I think we were supposed to, I just want to get, this is for the board's sake to be appropriate. Were we supposed to vote on her motion, then vote on the amendment to the motion?
Oh, yeah, but what I said was a discussion.
We was in discussion.
Well, I'm trying to find out where we at. 'cause what, are we discussing the motion or the amendment?
We were
We're
discussing.
discussing the amended
But now you
motion.
have to-
But I present something.
Then we vote on that.
Now you have a new
You
amendment.
got the resolution?
Oh,
Is what I'm
Oh,
trying
she
to,
got it.
what I'm trying to figure out is
How much?
ranging $81,864 and a penny to $90,164 and a penny. Date posted 9/30/2022.
Yeah, but again, that
Yeah,
does
we
not
gotta
tell
get
us
the
what
facts,
we
we
need to
get the
know.
facts,
No.
let's get the facts.
'Cause that was-
That's a range and that's the general job posting.
Yeah, I think
We need to know what she's
Let's get
getting.
the
That's
facts.
Yeah,
really
we-
good.
but
That was there as
but
an entry,
but we-
and then in January, they ran as.
bless you.
Excuse me.
But we do know that 70 number ain't it.
Well,
Especially if we're going out if we're going
Well,
off
we
of
can give
this.
it to figure out.
But we-
So can I ask Mr. King, what was the number that you were told today? Was that 70?
I'll be some set.
And he showed you some paperwork that supported that number?
Paperwork, well, what they check says gonna prove that. I mean, we could read all of this, but
They
what do you
check on
have to
proof
pay it?
because if they ain't worth it, if they get on FMLA or sick leave.
I don't know, I haven't seen anybody check. So that tells me, because you can, when I work,
Which they get.
my grade would say I get so much pay, but my pay would be different what that grade was. Nobody saw my check but me. And you know, I don't know until we get, they present us something, say, this is what was paid from this day to this day. And they can prove it. And the clerk can vouch for it. And that's on avenue I think we have.
No, it's not, we just made a motion and took a vote. Yeah.
No. I'm not, we're in discussion. I'm just doing my discussion part here. And that's, we're not, there's no one else, anything else for discussion on that amended motion.
So can you read the motion so everybody is clear on what it is?
Okay. The motion is to submit a written request to the CFO, also the city attorney, in reference to what is the actual salary of the city of Flint's clerks.
Okay, and then we're also gonna be requesting a copy of the resolution
And her contract.
that was passed.
No
We
contract?
need the contract. The resolution is gonna say her salary.
Copy of resolution.
Okay. I didn't want y'all to forget that y'all
Sure.
said that at first.
Everyone clear on the amended motion? Roll call, Ms. Bill.
Carol McIntosh,
Yes.
Joseph King,
Yes.
Linda Booz,
Yes.
Patrick Julian,
Yes.
William Harris.
Yes.
Paige Russo.
Yes.
Rochelle Bowley.
Yes.
Now we're back to the original motion. What was the original motion?
You don't need original motion, 'cause
Right.
Yes.
It was a friendly amendment.
It was a
to
friendly
the-
Oh, you meant
Yeah.
from the motion? Okay.
It's a friendly amendment.
Okay, so we're no come from that. Okay. Anything else dealing with our budget report? If not, we will move to discussion item. The first item on discussion would be
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. King,
We have,
if I may. I think it would be, Mr. Disney, I think it would be prudent to ask, to send a request of a time frame of when the purchasing card will be provided to Ms. Little for usage for supplies.
okay. Restate that so I follow you, because my mind was
So,
clear.
Ms. Little, excuse me, Ms. Little stated that she has not received anything in regards to the purchasing card. And so I was saying that I think it would be a good idea that we submit a letter with a deadline of Friday of acknowledgement of when the purchasing card will be issued, or a time frame of when the purchasing card will be issued to Ms. Little.
Okay, but right, but information I have, there's only 2 purchase cards carried in the city.
Oh my God.
No, there's 2.
Each department has one, right?
What they're doing is purchase order. You contact purchase. My understanding was after that, we had that, the deal that dealing with the downtown, that I've talked to 2 department heads, and they don't have they have done a request to the purchase account, and I believe that used to be the way those was handled before. I don't know, how would you handle when you was
We did purchase orders back when I was in the city.
And I think that's what they had now.
But Mr. King, we had this conversation in our meeting with the mayor, and they basically said it's 2 options. Either she could use the purchase order, or she can use a P card. They told us that not every department head has a P card. They told us that during the meeting. And then we said, she wants a P card. And I asked Shaxton, do you want to use the purchase order or the P card? She said she prefers the P card. We went further in that meeting, if you guys recall, and the mayor said, I don't want to be responsible for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in writing that the board will be responsible for oversight of the ombudsman's use of a P card. And if there's any abuse or misuse, it's going to fall on us and not on the administration. Do you guys not remember that?
I remember that.
That's exactly what the agreement was. And he said he was going to put it in writing, and you said I'll sign it.
It sounded well, and had never been put in writing.
Correct. So there's been no follow-up on their end,
No.
but this issue was addressed.
Well, I guess it's up to the board to, where you go from there. What do you want to do about that?
I think we should do what
Request the
Mr.
written.
Well, he just said
agreement.
by
Yeah.
Friday.
By Friday, by Friday, we need an update of when, more than likely, it's gonna probably be legal that will probably be drafting up the paperwork. So we need by Friday, we need the paperwork to have been written up. So that we
Process
can,
at least started.
you know, at least the process started. I'm not sure how long it would take. How long does it normally take paperwork for that to be written up?
About 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know how they function up here. So I don't know.
But we should have the paperwork by Friday so that we can at least sign it.
Well, I've seen orders go through, they do them in like a couple hours and present them. So I've seen a request for something from me, and they had it emailed to me and for the legal department minutes. Unless we request it. It's the pleasure of the board, if you want.
Well, you had, excuse me, I said you had a conversation already, so you should address the person you had a conversation with, saying, we didn't receive the agreement. Can you send the agreement so we can get this taken care of? That's it, you know what I mean? Instead of going to legal, because they don't know nothing, then they gonna say, well, let me check with him and work.
No, I agree. The letter needs to be to the administration to say, where is the letter that you wanted prior to issuing this P card? And we followed that meeting up with a letter in writing
We did.
confirming everything that we agreed to in that meeting. So,
Okay, so it's on, so I think we should send them a letter, like you said,
A follow-up.
and we need to hear something. We need to have this letter going out this week by Monday or Tuesday. Let's say Monday or Tuesday. They should be able to say, we have started the paperwork, you should have it by, and if they can't do that, then we need to start going up across the street to the courthouse.
By Monday, we should have the paperwork.
Okay, I'll say by, yes.
But
that
today
too.
Tuesday, I don't see why they couldn't have it by Friday.
That right, okay, well, I'm for
There's
that
been a
too.
discussion.
I'm for that too.
You know, why,
Let's get
why
going.
we pushing stuff.
We
to
always
next week.
got the baby
You
in
know,
and
this-
wait,
this month is
wait.
almost
Let's
gone.
do it then.
You
Today,
gotta
where's
start
that?
soon.
Right now.
okay, so y'all calm down. Relax.
No, don't get me started.
I don't like putting the tight squeeze in letters because unless we have to. And in this, I don't think we have to. I think we send a friendly letter saying, hey, administration, we're still waiting on this letter, because you said you would provide it, whatever. And please advise us as to when this documentation is going to be coming, because you're holding up progress.
Okay, let me say this then. Since temporary assistant secretary Trishelle said that, well, you know, she wrote her stuff right.
You
so
know,
I
it's
just-
nice
but let me say,
the wrong
well,
time.
okay,
It's
so,
been nice
so,
the
but
wrong
she wrote
time.
the letter, so let me say this, and she's the attorney, and we have been. So when you write this letter Friday, and they don't bust a move, I'm looking for you to be across the street at the courthouse then, cause see, your board here saying, let's jump down on it, we tied. But we gonna listen to you cause you legal and you professional and we wanna be decent and fair and give people a chance. We do. Even though y'all like for me to give no predictions, I feel like we get messed around. But that don't make it right. That don't make it factual. So but let's roll with what Ms. Trissell said. But now when that don't work out, Mr. King, don't you come telling me how to handle nobody with no baby. That'd be nice. I don't wanna hear none of that. Okay?
Let's do a standard, I say a standard 5 business days. That's,
Okay, what's the?
that, to me,
Today's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday, like I said.
So,
okay, so Tuesday.
I think 5 business days is courteous enough, that's just me.
Okay, I agree.
I think everybody made good points.
So let's be clear, today is Tuesday, but the letter is not going out today. So
Tomorrow.
it'll be 5 business days from whatever that date
Tomorrow.
goes out.
Well, when is that, when you think?
Next
Mrs.
Tuesday.
Attorney, Secretary Assistant.
It'll be next Tuesday.
I got a whole,
But no, I'm just joking, but she be up to 2 in the morning. I be getting emails at 2 in the morning.
I can see you because I'll be up.
Oh yeah,
to
she
the
will.
line.
She'll get it out. Like I know she
Looking
don't
at
want me
y'all
to
stuff.
respond.
I don't want to be on y'all email.
I'll get it out tomorrow.
Okay.
I love it. Okay,
So-
I'll be nice then if y'all.
We
We gonna see.
Chairman, could you have him to repeat it so that I can put the motion? I want to make sure I have the proper language for the minutes.
I'm not sure we put it in the motion.
Oh, you hadn't did the motion?
No, we were just
No.
discussing.
Oh, okay.
What the motion should be. Okay, so Tuesday.
I make a motion that a friendly reminder letter is sent to administration in regards to the paperwork that needs to be signed by us and by administration to
What's the
release
expectancy?
in requesting the expectancy of the purchasing card for the Office of Ombudsman for the supplies.
Support.
Been moving, probably supported. Any discussion?
So my question is, since we're doing a letter on an issue that was addressed in that meeting, and the salary was also addressed in that meeting, I think we should address both issues, because
Agreed.
neither one of them
Agreed.
have been handled.
Then I'll offer an amendment to the motion that a friendly amendment that we also include
The salary.
the salary issue as well.
Support.
Amendment that been properly moved and supported. Discussion. Any discussion? Well, I guess I'll throw my 1.5 cents in.
Okay.
I have met, and I've been going through this now for 4 years. And a lot of this stuff is all tactic, because people just don't believe this board is going to act that fast. Going to follow up on things. And me personally is I get that frustration that Ms. McIntyre gets sometimes on that. But I'm understanding that legal process, and I'd like to do it transparent and decently. But that's just my take on it. And I think this board have to get to the point where you just can't this case accepts stall tactics all the time, and others just stall. So we need to watch that moving in the future, that it's not something to stall like that. Let it sit for 72 hours, they're gonna forget it, and we don't worry about it. On that note, roll call.
Can I say one
Hold
more
on.
thing? I
Yeah.
just want to say, I understand the stalling, the tactics, the history, but for me, court is always a last resort. You know, I know y'all already here. I'm back here catching up, but I'm slowly but surely catching up.
You get rid of that.
When you go to court, the first thing the judge looks at is, what have you done to
resolve
get to
it
this
before,
point?
right.
So when I say do these things, I'm setting us up to do something that if it has to be done, if it becomes necessary. But you gotta go through some processes to get
Michelle,
there.
quit playing. You see me buying down. You know it's
I'm
killing
just saying,
me. You
look
see
at-
I'm rolling with this. I don't
Well, no, I don't want y'all to think I'm buying into the star tactics if that's how you're describing them. I'm just saying it's things that we need to do. If we end up having to make a move, we'll be ready to
We
make
have to
that
have
move.
a paper
And that's
trail.
why I said what I said, even though we don't want to because we tired. You the legal guru in the room, so we gonna follow your lead and see what happens. We gonna
I
give
won't
you your
lead
chance
you
to
astray.
do your dance, girl. We background. We like background for behind play.
The board, and you're absolutely right, is going into the court and let it stupid is not what we're going to do. So, on that note, roll call.
Kara McIntosh.
Yes.
Joseph King.
Yes.
Linda Bruce.
Yes.
Patrick Julian.
Yes.
William Harris.
Yes.
Paige Russo.
Yes.
Trishelle Bowling.
Yes.
Okay, we're 7-0.
7-0. Okay. Next item on the agenda is council complaint. Open for discussion.
Mr. Chair, if I may, so we had authorized an investigation into the conduct of Councilman Mays at our last EAB meeting. Since that time, the city council had a special city council meeting and they suspended him based on improper conduct at city council meetings. Councilman Mays has since filed a lawsuit against the Flint City Council, and I sent an email of that lawsuit to every board member so you guys could see exactly what he's claiming. And it's my position and recommendation that this board table our investigation until the litigation addresses those issues. They're dealing with allegations that the actions of the council violated the Open Meetings Act. And so there's going to be some issues whether that state law is in conflict with the council rules, because state law clearly supersedes the city council rules. So we need to let that play out. And so I've drafted letters to all of those who made complaints regarding Councilman Mays. I did see on the list today that Councilwoman Burns had made a complaint, but I had not received that, so I don't know the essence of that. And then I also saw Vanessa Nelson had made a complaint, and I think hers involved Councilman Mays as
That was
well.
it, yeah, that was for the
Okay.
last meeting.
Okay.
The new one was the last one.
Okay,
You
so.
can pass these out.
So it's my recommendation that we send that letter, and I sent you guys drafts of those letters to everybody, just to let them know that, number one, we've received your complaint. We did authorize an investigation, however, because it's been elevated to litigation, we're gonna table our investigation, and once that is concluded, then we'll revisit the issue, and then we will advise them accordingly.
And also, I'd like to add the fact that the city council is governing themselves and they've addressed Mr. Mays concerning that issue. So I don't know if we want to double down on that. Is that our position to address something that is already being addressed?
Well-
And is going into the court. You know, because if the court finds whatever for Mr. Mays or whichever way it goes, it's going to determine if he's acted unethically or whatever. I'm sure that's going to come out in the wash, would be my position.
Right, and I think that's the exact reason why when we revisit it, if it's dealt with, then we just notify them that, you know, the issue has been resolved. Because that's what we do. If we find an issue, we have to recommend to city council, hey, enforce your rules.
Right.
You know, but if their rules are found to be in conflict with state law, you know, what
we
can
ain't got
they
nothing to do with
do? You know, so.
Okay.
But, you know, there are some other issues that may come to the floor as it relates to making sure they enforce the rules evenly against all council people and not selective.
Fair,
Now,
Yes.
now last question, was that brought up in the lawsuit? Was
I'm
bias,
sure it's gonna.
was bias?
You know, I didn't read it to the end. I mean, I had to look and see.
I'm no attorney, but if I was an attorney, I would throw that in, definitely.
Okay.
Because everybody,
This is the, it all, that's what I'm saying, it all depends on what's in the lawsuit. If the lawsuit does say that they speculate, a bias against Mr. Mays in regards to personalities and things of that nature, then, I would leave it alone. But if it doesn't, then my thing would be, I would like to know why city council, because from my knowledge, two other council persons were brought up to be suspended on September the 1st, which were Judy Priestley and Eva Worthy. And I find it interesting that neither one of those two were suspended, but Mr. Mays was suspended. And if you're upholding council rules, and if they're being held accountable for the same rules that Mr. Mays broke, then those two should have been dismissed. And if they were suspended, and if they weren't suspended, it points towards bias. But that's why I want to know if it's in the lawsuit. I'm not touching that wire. If it is, it would be a recommendation that we need to start saying to city council, if you're going to enforce your own laws, you need to enforce them evenly and equitably. It doesn't matter. If somebody breached and broke council rules in regards to that, it should be, what I'm meaning
the
is,
rules have to be the same for
the rules have to
everybody.
be across the board, but then I would also, it should be steps. I'm like Ms. Bowden, court should be the last thing, should be the last step. The first step should be censure. Then the second step should be, okay, automatic. Should be automatic, okay, it's an automatic suspension, 2 weeks. And then the next one, if it's broken again, automatic suspension, then you increase it to 30 days. Then the next one should be, okay, now this is getting egregious, automatic suspension without pay. I think there should be levels where it's automatic.
But a lot of that has to do with the council's
Rules, right.
You know, we can't dictate what their rules should be.
But
we can just make sure they enforce their own rules.
Can we make the recommendation to council that their rules should reflect?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
My thing would be like because if their rules don't stipulate that, then my recommendation would be, okay, you guys need to have stair steps and different tiers in regards to where this comes into play before this happens, and it should be automatic. That's just.
That's hard to recommend an automatic when there's some behaviors that will justify a skip.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So to put a tight chokehold on it like that, that's kind of tough.
That's true. That's
You
true.
know? Sorry.
But that's my word.
But it's definitely an issue that should be looked into, and the lawsuit, from my cursory glance, does not mention anything about him being unfairly treated.
I'd like to also bring this to the board's attention because, and I wasn't at the last meeting, I apologize, but the meeting before that, when Mr. Mays and some citizens came before us, they wanted to make complaints, and we took a vote that we weren't taking any more complaints until we had our previous business handled. So, and then we come today, and I hear that we've received another complaint against Eric Mays, that we've taken this complaint. So I'm thinking.
Today, we took a new complaint?
Well, this complaint that we have, is this complaint after we decided, or is way before that? Because I can't keep up with them. Every time I look up, it's a complaint against Mr. Mays. I'm gonna be honest.
It's right.
So I'm wondering, this is not a new complaint that we have taken since we voted not to take any new complaints, is it? Because my concern would be then, that puts us at liability because we voted not to take any new complaints.
don't think it was not to take any complaints. It was, we was not gonna be, investigating, some complaint that we was dealing with earlier on. We wanted to complete those before we started talking about something
complaint.
Yeah.
Ms. Shasta, can you give me the language on that? Because like I said, I don't want us to get hemmed up not being fair and equitable.
We ain't
Like
never gonna stop taking complaints.
Right, no, because I might have it all tangled up. I don't want everybody to get all worked up. I might have to, but I recall them mentioning they wanted to file some complaints, and we said something about we weren't taking complaints, and Ms. Trishelle asked me specifically, she says, do you want to take complaints? Are you, because you said you didn't, then you said, remember we had that conversation, and I clarified, I want to clear up the complaints we've already received before we receive more, because we're not moving on our previous complaints. So maybe that's why I'm all mixed up.
So
Maybe
you're talking about July 11th.
Shasta was overwhelmed because she was doing a whole lot of stuff. We postponed some stuff.
Okay.
I don't think we stopped taking complaints.
Okay, but okay,
I think
so
it was in the office where the complaint was to.
let's get that language.
I
for sure.
remember,
I'm looking at the
I
minutes.
remember it being
Okay.
said, some complaints did not have to come to us.
Okay.
You know, they can
I
go
just
to
like-
the ombudsman office, and if they resolved it, it doesn't need to come to us.
Let's get that clarified. Let's be sure.
Here's
Let's be sure.
what actually happened
What we
with that
voted on.
complaint. And it was, I'm sure it was a reaction. This board, last meeting, decided to address that. And everyone was looking at it. We was gonna address that to the whole council. And they react to this board to get ahead of the board. Ain't no doubt about it. That you notice what's happened when, now that we're being put out there on social media, when this board moved to do something, it's called a reaction. It's doing that, and you're gonna see that. They could have did that long ago, but they react, and I put it out there, and I have no problem with it, to get this board off the main thing, and you're right, you need to still move on that, to address the whole council. And because I understand exactly what happened and why it happened.
Okay.
So, I don't have a problem telling everybody out there, and it wasn't in my voice, what's going on. I know what's going on. And we all know what's going on. And whatever happened today here, somebody's gonna react tomorrow. Okay? So I think if this board is on the right track, I think I think this board now that start moving, it's gonna start making the city move. So,
Can I just,
yeah.
I'm looking at the minutes from July 11th, which is the meeting that you're referencing. There was discussion that we should consider tabling all complaints until the budget issue is resolved.
Okay.
There was never a motion to do that.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure exactly. I knew it was something going on with freezing of complaints and the waiting on something else to move. And with that being said, have we done that? If that was the vote, have we
Have we done
had
what?
that? Whatever that says, that we
It
took.
was just discussion. There was no motion.
No, it was
made.
never a vote.
Right.
Okay.
And then we also discussed the
Okay.
simple fact that we didn't want to receive any complaints because her printer was not working.
Right.
And she wasn't able to get secure documentation
That's right.
in regards to that. Now that the printer is working, we got things going.
That was part of it, okay.
So,
That links the rest of it.
so this is my piece. We understand where the lawsuit is. We're not gonna deal with that one. But what I would do is, and this is just me, we can turn it down or not, but I would like to launch, this is just me, an investigation in regards to the bias, in regards to fairness of handling the suspension of Mr. Mays, in an investigation into the council rules, and to make recommendations if those stair steps are not there, to make recommendations that stair steps be put in place in regards to moving, we're talking about moving forward in the future.
I don't think
Because
it's our place to tell them how to discipline one another. I think that, don't they supposed to govern themselves? I mean, I agree with, it has to be equal. I agree that it should be issued out based off how you feel about a person, and drastic because you want their vote to be silenced, because now you're disenfranchising the voters. You're actually leaving this district unrepresented. So I totally understand that. My thing as the Ethics and Accountability Board, it is our job to stand for the charter, not to tell city council about what kind of ruling and how many steps. Yes, to have fair rules, but to tell you should take this step, this step, this step. Let me tell you why I say that. Because, and if that is what the board votes for, I will support my board wholeheartedly. But it puts me in the mind of how I feel this office has done this board, and tried to put you into a box to force you to conduct your business the way you see fit, when that office actually has jurisdiction over themselves.
oh, but what I meant by my recommendation, because all we can do is recommend. But the other thing that we do outside of the charter, it does say city ordinances, and it does say policies and procedures. City council rules follow up under policies and procedures, and all we're doing is just making a recommendation to open the
Because
investigation.
they have to accept it.
And they can accept the recommendation.
They can also reject.
They can also
Right. That's what I'm saying, they have to accept it.
they can also reject
They
the
can't
recommendation. But I tell you this, it looks a whole lot bad for the board it looks bad on city council for them to reject something that the Ethics and Accountability Board is sending to them to make their rules and regulations better and to make it a fair practice. They can reject all that they want to, but that's just me.
So you made a motion or you just was
No, we
suggesting?
just discussed it.
We're just
So
discussing.
let me just throw my, as Mr. King said, what'd you say, a penny?
Penny and a half. Instead of 2 cents.
I'm kind of leaning more towards Carol's position. And secondly, from a legal perspective, again, it's too close right now to the litigation. Anything that we do right now can be brought into that litigation if it's involving city council, because city council is the defendant right now in this case. They have a hearing coming up. They're asking for something to be done really quick and really fast, like what happened with, I think it was Kate Field's case. And so I don't think we should authorize that at this point in time. I think the timing is not good. We need to wait and see what's going on this litigation first, because it could impact it.
That's true.
Let's not get sued with everybody else.
That's true.
I'm a little uncomfortable with this board telling city council what is fair, not fair. It's not a department which has rules. City council is elected by the representatives. They govern themselves. Unless something's being violated, we have power to enforce that charter violation. I guess what is fair for one person might not be fair for somebody else. That's my opinion.
And I agree with you. I can understand the stipulations on that, but my thing would be is from an ethical standpoint, I want to get, it would be towards this, and I understand, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let's not touch this live wire, we're just having a discussion. But it would be from the point of this. We have got to get city council to the position where personalities are eliminated from making decisions, and decisions are based solely on facts and facts alone.
I agree with you 150%.
That's why I would say I'm not saying we touch it right now, but we're just talking about it. That's why I would say,
Now, but we are required, at least from my reading of the charter, to issue a report every year.
yes.
Right. So there are recommendations. I don't know what you have done historically, but do you make recommendations in that annual report?
We have not.
We haven't done that
yet.
before.
We did one before the pandemic.
I was gonna say, I thought Miss Tanae here, did
She
she?
did, but
The
But the
city-
board.
and the board, and the board.
Okay.
Right.
But the one word I'm hearing, I think we probably want to throw that word out, is tail. This board is not telling, we don't want nobody to think that this board can tell the council or anybody else
Right.
what to do.
Exactly.
So, but I listen, I think you might be right when the council have rules. And if they don't follow them, we still bring it to their attention. Not tell them, but if you, it should be, not even the council, anyone else at the city. I think that this board, the charter, give this board that to bring to the attention, not to tell anyone, but then you bring a charter, you bring a city ordinance. And I think we should. We haven't been doing it, but I think that this board move on. We should, when we see it, we should let them know. We should let them know then that it's against the charter. You violate the charter. If you keep violating it, then the board will do what it has to do. And I think that's the message that we should get out.
Mr. King, our power, our board's power is the power of the pen. That is our power. That's what we need to understand. We can put down on paper if we see violations, and we can issue reports, and we can publish reports. So that pen has power.
Right.
So they shouldn't underestimate the power of our pen.
Well, that's what we did, because we have an act on the power that we have. And that's why I like to make up this board, that this people I look around here now are ready to make that move and enforce the charter. And wherever it leads. And I personally, as I look around since I've been on this board, this is probably the most proud I've been of this board in the 4 years I've been sitting here. Because you're ready to take things where it is, and you're ready to get in the trench and enforce the charter what we took on to do. So,
Mr. King, can I ask Shasta, have any complaints been not accepted through the Ombudsman's office as it related to city council?
No,
Okay, I just want that record clear.
No.
None have been rejected.
no, none has been rejected.
None, period, right?
I'm sorry,
None, period, right?
none, you saying has any been made, period, or any been rejected?
It's just,
None have been
Okay.
rejected.
So, Mr. King, I would ask for a motion to authorize the sending of the letters, the draft letters that I sent to everybody, so that we can get them to you for signature and send those out in a timely fashion. And I will add Ms. Vanessa and, Ms. Burns, was hers about, hers wasn't about
No,
council in there, so-
no, it wasn't.
Okay.
we'll get,
So,
to
I had
That
to
is
that
the,
one.
we'll get to that.
that's
Okay.
a new one.
All right.
There's a motion on the floor.
Second.
Well, I was asking for a motion.
Okay.
Well, you let it for one.
So I'll move in regards to what temporary Secretary Trishelle Boland
Thank you.
has stated. I'll move on her motion.
You'll have a second.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Discussion? No discussion? Roll call.
Carol McIntosh,
Yeah.
Joseph King,
Yes.
Linda Booth,
Yes.
Patrick Julian,
yes.
William Harris.
Yes.
Paige Russo.
Yes.
Rochelle Bowling.
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passed 7-0. We have a complaint here. Have everyone seen this?
That's what I was asking, you want me to pass it out?
Pass it around.
Is this the ARPA? Or?
No.
That's something different.
Oh, so
Okay.
you still on one?
This is
Yeah.
another complaint that,
Two different things?
No, this one with the updated list, spreadsheet that I sent to you.
Oh,
Is this just one sheet that we're getting?
did you,
This is one sheet that you're
Okay.
getting, it's front and back.
did you get this?
The names, the name of the person is not, but it's
what,
on the complaint, but you can see the justification.
what we asked, this complaint came in It came in from named it after this complaint from another council person. By a council person, asking if we can look at it and discuss how we want to move about discussing this complaint.
Can I say something real quick? This is how, what I was saying, when you put it into the database, this is how it comes out, and it generates that report that's in the back. So this is, once you data entry, this is actually what's the database.
Okay.
So,
Now, was this complaint made by a citizen or a council person?
it was made by a council.
Was there any link to view the incidents referenced, attached?
No.
Was she removed by police? Because that was an assault.
You're asking if who was removed?
Well,
The council.
yeah, the councilwoman. Was she removed? Because that was an assault.
No, of course not.
Well, it would come because this is a violation of the charter and the general elected official. This will pass all day because it goes beyond the scope of plus person. We have to investigate this. And
I don't see how this is any different than the complaint against Councilman May.
Exactly. But yeah,
She should have been
be a
removed
lot.
from council
Right
chamber.
then. And
She
get-
should have been
And she
removed.
should be out for 30 days with him.
Listen,
That-
let's not jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
All we want to know is, should we authorize an investigation?
right.
So,
Bias.
so-
It's kind of like
Linda,
bias.
Linda.
Okay.
yes, this is my suggestion. I put a motion on the floor that we investigate complaint number 1497721 in regards to this council complaint, in regards to breach of charter.
Second.
No, Miss.
There's been motion and second.
Is the complaint to you?
Well, we get to that, let me, no, we don't want to move ahead. Have a motion second.
I say,
Have
it's
a
been
motion
seconded.
second.
I already seconded it.
Motion
Okay.
on, it's been second. Discussion.
Is there a, it says there's a police complaint that was filed. Is there an ongoing police investigation to our knowledge?
What we have is one about a complaint this year.
Oh, okay.
So if we want to hear from the
There's no
complainant,
name on our form.
so we can, if it's okay with the board, we will listen to the complaint. This,
Yeah.
Councilwoman, you,
Good evening, board, and thank you. On 5/3 during the city council meeting, not once but twice, the councilwoman Worthing stood to her feet. I stayed seated and enticed
Next to each other?
two people in between, Ally Herkenroder and Dennis Pfeiffer. And yes, there is video, and unfortunately now there's TikToks which show this, where she rose to her feet. When we talk about behavior and swear words, she often has called me a narcissistic asshole, which has been heard by city attorneys, and she swears at other members. She did that on 5/3, then she did it again on 7/19, where the entire time, and I don't deal with her because I know she has some issues, and she stated, she made some comments, then she stopped in her dialogue and said, well, everyone knows you're not going to stay seated. I stayed seated the first time. The second time, when then Judy Priestley hit the gavel and we stood up, and I stood up. Then she, of course, she threatened me. Never threatened her. She has tried to make frivolous and false police reports on me numerous times. She stated I chased her at the city jail. Never happened. She hit Jasmine Stanley, I believe, on October the 24th. Jasmine Stanley came to the podium and she spoke. Police officer seen it. This was 2 weeks before Commissioner Nolan had passed away. He saw it. So did Justice Thigpen and many other people in the council chambers. Then she stated, when Jasmine spoke, and it's on video for 1024, and she stated that Eva Worthing hit her. I saw her hit her. She walked past her, and first she flipped off Councilman Mays with the bird and told him, F you. That was the first thing she did when she got up out of her seat. Then she walked forward along the left-hand side of the council chambers, hit her with her right hand. Jasmine had said to her, she says, why did you flip Councilman Mays the bird? Are you proud of yourself? And she hit her on the shoulder. I'm like, did she really just do that? And she did. She did. Jasmine did not want to file a police report at the time because she had just lost her father, which is former Mayor Woodrow Stanley. And she did not want to be highlighted, but she did come to the podium and speak and stated she was hit by Eva Worthing. Eva Worthing turned around and said she hit her. She did not hit her. She did not. It did not occur. And then she keeps saying, then why isn't there a police report? Yes, I wish Jasmine Stanley McKinney had filed a police report because it is assault. It's a violation of subcode section 31-10, and she should have filed a police report, but she didn't. She didn't. So we have this behavior which is allowed. She's called Councilman Pfeiffer, and excuse my language, a dickhead, an asshole, and she uses vulgar language all the time. It's not uncommon. So now that it's continued to escalate, she's taken pictures of me and Councilwoman Jerry Winfrey Carter and posted them on Facebook. She's put them on there where I've received posts where they said, we're going to invite this gal, which is a negative term, to a necktie party, which is a hanging.
Oh, no.
So when we receive this, I take my life serious. I'm not going to play with her.
You didn't file a police report about that?
I did file a police report. There are 2 police reports, one for the 5-3 and the one for the 719. But because there was no, she actually didn't, move forward, I put it on record to make sure, and it's also on video. So we have a problem with the council person that she's aggressive and she's violent. She's a violent person. And she should not be allowed, when we say to sit on that council, you don't hit and go back and forth with members of the audience. She is called Black People Ghetto. She had, her job was reprimanded her prior job. It was all over social media and in the news. Detroit News picked up several news, Fox News and Fox News, for calling Black People Ghetto. She often uses microaggressions. That's not allowed. This is not the behavior that is, her behavior is conduct unbecoming of any council member. And it's just not acceptable. So when I issued and I submitted that, enough has been enough. She's difficult to deal with, and then she plays the victim. And when we look at the things that have happened, we can take us back to Saturday. Now, people are going to take so much before they react, and then it's going to become violent. You cannot continue to hit people, say things to them. You can't do that. I've been patient. I stayed seated. They refused at that time. Judy Priestley was chairing the meeting. She refused to say or to give her a warning. And you'll see on camera where Judy Priestley said, you're right. You're right. I should have given her a warning. She admits it after on 5-3 when Eva was out of control yet again. You can see her flipping off the bird. I had someone from Alabama who was watching called me and said, hey, look at this time on here, and you'll see her flipping. She flipped actually Dennis Pfeiffer the bird. And so it's on camera, her giving him the FU sign. So when we talk about conduct unbecoming, she's consistent with it. She has a problem. So thank you for hearing my complaint. I did not submit it properly, obviously. And so I have no problem saying that I've spoken openly about this. No one should have to sit on that city council. And number one, someone flipping you off. They should not be calling Black people ghetto, using microaggressions, standing up and saying, come over here, come over here. No, I stayed seated. We know when people have not stayed seated, what has happened. Flint has made national headlines before, and I have tried to keep it graceful, and I'm at my boiling point with her. So thank you for taking the time to review this, and I appreciate the board's time. Thank you.
Do you have copies of those postings, the social media postings?
I do have them.
Can you provide us?
I absolutely, I will. What email do I send it to?
Ombudsperson@cityoflint.com.
Okay, I will forward everything to you, and I'll get a copy of that police report
Okay.
to send also.
Please do.
Okay, thank you.
To add to that, I will say this. I've witnessed it myself, because I was in a council meeting when she purposely, openly said to the council, and she spoke back to a resident and said some really derogatory things to this resident, and said, "I'm glad I broke council rules, and it felt good finally saying it to this resident." No warning was given, no removal was even offered. That and in council and in the code of conduct, you're not supposed to retaliate against citizens. And I was there, and I saw it happen, and I heard from my own ears that she said, "I'm glad, and I was happy I said it, and I don't care that I broke council rules. You can give me a warning if you want to," and no warning was issued.
I like to say this. What it sounds like to me is Miss Eva is Councilwoman Eva Worthing is very aware of the fact that it is illegal to threaten a politician or an elected official. So it sounds like she's taking full advantage of that, disrespecting other people, hiding behind law enforcement after she's breaking all these rules. Because if you put your hands on a citizen, or you address a citizen directly while you're sitting on the city council, and you get into a heated exchange, and now they say something they have no business, then they can end up being criminally liable. So it sounds like she's putting people in a position to set them up for jail time. I mean, because how do you take that gracefully as a citizen? Somebody talking, calling you ghetto, or calling you out your name when you're paying taxes, and it's my right to let you know that I'm not happy with your service. And you shouldn't be called, because if I am ghetto, you represent me, you're on my city council. If I'm ghetto, you're there with me. You're representing this ghetto that I represent. So I just don't feel like that's a term that anybody here that's sitting in the same meetings, conducting business together, negotiating together. Because one thing about it, even if you live in the suburbs, if you got to come to the ghetto to get your money, you can be a victim just like me. So you're not above it. And I think that those words are meant to be hurtful and demeaning. And I think it actually crosses the line when you speak to somebody on your board, because I'm on the board, so I might get a bug. Miss Trishelle might hurt my feelings, and Miss Linda one day. Maybe this discussion will be heated, but for me to come at or this young man or the city councilwoman, that's another level of disrespect. And when you accept a position on a board or a city council or elected official, you have to understand that they'll come with some criticisms.
But it points back to our discussion earlier in regards to the biases that council people show towards other council persons. And to where it just solidifies the fact that it's more personality driven than it is fact based.
The council is racially divided.
You get
Yes,
into the
yes.
discussion of the
Racially
investigation, you should entertain a motion or something so that
Right.
you can start your investigation before you start, because you didn't.
Drawing
Right.
conclusions.
Yeah, so
Well,
yeah.
we're in discussion.
Okay. But all he's saying is, your discussion sounds
You
pretty
got- that's what it is.
conclusory.
Yeah.
And there's two sides to every story,
That's true.
you know. So she should be afforded an opportunity to come and present her side.
Absolutely.
However, a video and a picture is worth a
Thousand
thousand
words.
words.
Well, let's get on,
Okay.
because you're right, we
And
have
that's,
ourselves.
that's the reason for the discussion, so we can move and decide what we want to do with it. So, yeah, everyone thinks they have, I'm ready to entertain a motion.
Yes.
Well,
To the board or whatever the board pleasure.
the motion's already on the table, we just gotta vote.
Was it?
No,
It's a
yeah,
motion, no
no, we
motion.
don't-
No, I did. I said I moved that we,
No.
that we.
Oh, you did, we
I
had a
did.
discussion, you're
Yeah,
right.
so we are
Right.
discussing, you second, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
We
So
discussed
we
so
just
long.
have to vote.
Yeah, let's go, let's not stay
Okay,
here.
anyone else in discussion? Anyone else? Not roll call,
Carol McIntosh.
Yes.
Joseph King.
yes.
Linda Booth.
Yes.
Patrick Julian.
Yes.
William Harris.
Yes.
Paige Russo.
Yes.
Rochelle Bowles.
Yes.
7-0.
0.
So, Mr. Chair, with that, am I authorized to go ahead and send out a letter to Ms. Worthy
Yes.
as well as Ms. Burns indicating that an investigation has been authorized and that we will conduct this investigation and invite them to share their sides eventually. I think initially we need to gather our own facts and information and see the video and, you know, the police reports and the things of that nature, and then allow them to hear their sides before we come to conclusions.
Right,
So
that would be the process.
Okay, so I-
Yeah, you're on the line.
I will do that tomorrow as well.
Yes. We move, next thing on discussion is that ARPA committee.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah,
We talked about this in our last meeting. Again, the ARPA committee is currently the subject of litigation, and I would move that we table any investigation into that ARPA committee pending the outcome of the litigation.
Second.
motion, been proper second, in the discussion.
No, it's the same thing. And I think, so let me just say this. It hampers the duties of the Ethics and Accountability Board when you file individual lawsuits. I know people want the board to handle things and to come to and launch our investigations, but the moment a lawsuit is filed, you take it completely out of our hands and we table it until the lawsuit has been concluded. So in this discussion, I wanted to be let known that if litigation is what you're going to do anyway, before you bring it, after you brought it to the board, give the board time to launch its investigation, render what its suggestion is. If you don't like the suggestion, then I would suggest going after it with litigation. But allow us to at least do what we're supposed to do, because again, once you file a lawsuit, as with the ARPA committee and then also with the other complaint, it fully takes it out of our hands and we table it until a decision has been rendered legally.
Any other discussion? Not roll call.
Carol McIntosh.
Yes.
Joseph King.
Yes.
Linda Booth.
Yes.
Patrick Julian.
Yes.
William Harris.
Yes.
Paige Russo.
Yes.
Rochelle Bowles.
Yes.
Next thing there, we talked about the ward maps. I have to get a ward map. Here.
New lines?
Do we get an individual copy to get up, or there's just one?
I had
Well,
looked at
no, I already got that. Back,
That'd be cool to hang
I
out.
don't know.
they didn't know how to run off another one, so I took
So I know it's
theirs.
a big.
I don't even want that.
No, if you want 5, you want me to want a copy.
Yes.
But I had this, if you want it.
Take a
You want to
picture.
look at it and see what it looks like.
You don't want to take a
This-
picture of it.
Well, that's kind of weird. Table this. Can we hang it
Yeah,
up?
see it.
You got it at the table. I don't want to hang it
Just
on.
hold it up, you guys will see it.
Ain't on the wall.
Take a picture of it.
This is what the new ward.
I can't see the bottom.
So the city clerk's office does not have the regular 8.5 by 11 size?
I
It don't
haven't.
look like that.
Oh, I could, if you want 8 by 11, if you want that, I could've got that. I told them I want a bigger map.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to do the regular size.
So that you can carry it with you.
Right.
I will make sure,
Right.
I'll make sure they get it to you. Do you want it in an email?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
That'd be perfect.
Okay, I would have
in an email, I'd rather have a hard copy so I can post it, frame it, so I can see it.
Well, I can get you a hard copy, but I can get a copy of it in 24 hours.
Because of the color and layout.
I won't be able to do it. I can take it.
But they ain't got no people, Buick City.
I didn't think Fifth Ward enlarged itself by that much.
Oh,
The east side is gone.
So Kettering is in Fifth Ward now.
Huh?
Kettering is now in Fifth Ward.
Yeah, they had to move all of north down because north was all the people.
But then look at the size of Ward 3.
Yeah,
Three
it's
has
just
always been
It's
big.
landmass, it's not.
Well, my little
It's
boy
mostly
getting
land.
littler and littler.
It's under the third.
He said it's getting little and little.
But look
But
at,
y'all densely
Ward
populated.
3 is not
You
gonna
densely
be-
populated.
Be too much residential ward.
So that's why I only get
They lost like
that.
6,000.
They go by
The
people.
next census.
That's what they go by.
It's a people
but
population.
look at,
people.
but honestly, look how small.
I don't believe
Even
it.
Ward 6.
I got to get some numbers.
They go by people.
But look how small Ward 6 is even
Ward,
now.
okay, Ward 3, is that over by Dayton Avenue and all that?
No, second word is they know.
Okay, well, what ward is Ward 3? Why is it so big?
Ward got a lot
So-
of land.
We
Ward
got land,
3,
we got Buick City.
Oh, that's over by you, okay.
Yeah, we
So-
have Buick City.
The majority of the people moved from the north side to the south side. The first, second, and third ward and fourth ward lost 6,000 people, so they had to move. They had to move everything down into six and seven and eight.
First ward still hot.
and the other issue is, if you would look over there my father's church is over there off of Joy Highway.
I know,
It's
third ward.
completely, I don't even think you got 50 votes. Well, you do have more, but you include Riverview, Rivercrest, but as far as home ownership, it's literally non-existent.
Well, we have like five low-income complexes. We have River Village, Ridgecrest Apartments, we have Eagle Ridge, Aldrich Place, and Shiloh Commons. But other than that, it's mostly land. You know, it's not heavily populated. So, you know,
The next item
Part of the east side is
is where
very
he wants his, we got the contract and we want to do it monthly.
and we have no
And for the board to
school.
decide whether to do it monthly, because of course,
No
he
school.
reports us twice a month, so.
But also, if I remember, the reason why we requested a new map was because the issue was for the Human Relations Commission. They have lost they lost 7 of their members. So only 2 members are there that are within their wards. So that's the reason why we asked for the new ward map, was so that we could see the street outlines and everything else, so that we can tell city council, okay, we need you to make new recommendations for the Human Relations Commission to be active, because as of right now, it's not active. And so in regards to that one, I would say that I think, this is just me, but I could be wrong, but I think a friendly letter could be sent to city council, just letting them know that, the Human Relations Commission is not active because of the shifting ward boundaries. And that per the charter, this board, the commission has to be active. And so that I think it would just be prudent that they look at applicants, considering you may not have known that, council may not have known that the committee is not active anymore, because they didn't realize, the lines have shifted, and because the lines have shifted, the person I appointed is no longer on the board. So I just think it would be I think it would be a common courtesy that we send council a letter.
Well, I think we should gather the facts before we send a letter. 'Cause,
Okay.
I mean, I hear you and I'm not doubting you, but I'd like to see it for myself, if that makes okay. And I'd like to have a copy of the map so I can see the changes in the lines
Mhm.
and how that impacted that.
And remember, that board comes under the ombudsman office.
Right.
And you should have that information.
Yeah.
Who's not no longer in the ward.
There are, I can probably tell you which wards are covered and who's not.
Put
Well, why
that in
don't we
writing.
just, I was gonna say, why don't we just have that for our next meeting?
Okay, yeah, so I can tell you.
Yeah, that way we have the facts in front of us and then
Okay.
we know exactly what we're saying to council
Right.
Okay.
And
to bring them up to, you
Right.
know.
not be just spinning our wheels.
Just to verify, we're all still good, right?
It's a different committee. It's not.
Yeah, I know.
But you're saying,
Oh, you mean?
Yeah.
are you all filling your wards? That's what we're saying.
But
You're
we still
representing
short,
your ward.
we still short on the members on this board as well.
Yes, that's Ward 4 and 6, and an appointment.
Well-
Ward 6 has a person, she does not, I'm sorry, I'm speaking out.
Who?
Her name is Billy Dantzler, and she was passed by resolution. The board needs to send her some information.
Did we get that resolution?
Did you get it?
No.
It passed last week.
Has she been sworn in and all that good stuff?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay, what was her name again?
Billy Dantzler. Is that her
What
last
ward?
name? 6.
Ward 6.
Okay.
Alright.
So
I usually get it from Davina, the information, and she tells me when it's sworn in.
just want her to reach out to Davina to get that resolution. And then also, if that's the case, let's send Ms. Dansler the information so she knows where to come to get sworn in. And then that way she'll be included.
The clerk does that part.
Yeah.
Right.
Give her the information about being.
Right, about being, just let her know that, let Ms. Dansler know that you have to be sworn in. You can attend the board meeting, but you won't be able to vote, but just let her know that. Let's get her sworn in so that we
But
can have.
Davina typically does all that.
She
Like,
does
that's-
that.
She
That's
did
right.
all of that with me. I mean, I hear you
Oh,
being
did she?
proactive, but
Oh, she did?
I don't know that we need to
That's
put
a-
that
Right,
on
that's-
our plate.
Right,
Because
Davina
the
does
clerk is
that.
on, she's on top of that.
And then happen with me.
So then once,
I'm the latest, so it
and
definitely
just like
happened.
you
Okay.
reached out, you said, hey, I've been newly appointed, Davina had already told me that she had been sworn in, she gave me the contact information. I emailed her everything she needed to know,
Okay.
you actually came to visit the office.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. So the only one that we have to worry about is the second mayoral
The 4th ward and the second mayoral appointment.
Yeah.
Have we? When's the last time we asked Councilwoman Priestley to provide us an update on her search?
The last week,
When she was here.
that's why I said when she was here.
That
She
was
was here last
Last
month.
month,
last month.
I think it was the first meeting.
Right.
And she the one who was saying she couldn't find anybody that wanted to serve.
Yes.
Right. She was, that's what she's been, and don't ask.
Well, but see, again, that's why that ward map will help us, because I can identify some areas. You can't tell me you can't find one person.
Right.
If you wanted to.
She just don't, yeah, that's it.
Let's
She
not-
just-
let's not jump to conclusions.
Okay, she don't. But you're right.
No, that's another reason why we asked for the map board, so that we could see, okay, your boundaries have shifted. There has to, you have to now be able to see, there's got to be somebody in your ward that is willing to represent your ward on this board, because this board needs to be fully staffed.
Well, can the HR send out notices in that area, you know, like?
That's not
It's
a
not a
government
employment.
position.
Okay.
I mean,
Public service.
I mean, I think we should do it, just send them a letter and say, hey, your ward is not being represented in this area.
At a meeting.
We've done it.
we done did that for the
We've
last
done
week.
it.
Almost going on 2 years now.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're aware of it, and you have it.
Have we put it in writing?
Yes.
We need
How
to,
long?
we need to
We
put it
should-
in writing, because if she
we
doesn't
asked-
act, when we do this annual report at the end, then we will make note that we've made multiple requests,
And your city council person
And this
failed to
board-
give you leadership.
you know, and so, again, that's why the power of that pen.
Is, and we have made
I'm
that
not gonna jump to any conclusion.
several times.
Good
And the clerk, I'm sure the clerk,
luck
I'm
with
going by
that.
previous
the
behavior.
clerk had let everyone know,
Right.
when, appointees in their ward is not on the board, let every council know if they got appointed that need to be on any board. That is their position. The clerk, that's their job, and they do that. Or but Miss Priestley thing have been the same thing over and over. I can't find no one. But I find it hard to be an elected official. You representing that thing now. They represent about 9,000 people
Right.
per ward.
You're not
Not
communicating
to
with
find,
anybody.
not to find one person. Well, yeah,
I'm all right with it.
I don't know.
Me and Mr. Pfeiffer ran against each other in our own primary. And he reached out to me and asked me, and I accepted. So, I mean,
Well, that's because he's a
That's
gentleman
all
and a
my
true
council.
representative.
So what you gonna do?
What,
We're gonna do
about
something.
the,
So we can go to the next.
but we get back, but I have something I did not answer.
Yeah, we just got one thing on the.
And I want to discuss it because one is concerned of decision that the board made in 2020, and it's concerned something that's going on with the council in my position here. And,
What that's out.
and what I want to bring this to this board, I understand, I wasn't at the meeting, I haven't looked at any, films of it, so that's what I was told happened. One is that, my position, I serve on MTA board, and I serve on this board. And back in 2020, we had, what you're looking at, where this board initiated investigation on whether it was a conflict and from legal. And that was November 2020. The board, after confirm with legal, which is the legal that we had represented the board then, and not instead of attorney. He confirmed what the board said, and also a couple of people from the Charter Commission. That board is a county board. City charter only deal with boards that dealing with the city of Flint. You was there when we did that. You were there because it came short after. President Gifford had to be.
This specifically says that any person, you can't serve on the EAB and another city board.
Board, right.
But that's true. MTA is not a city board.
Right, so I'm saying,
Right.
this clearly
But
indicates that that's not a conflict.
Right.
So,
Well, but that, I understand, my appointment came up, my appointment actually ended last week. And Councilperson Dan asked me, would I set for a reappointment, and I said yes. But I understand that
they voted it down.
they voted on, based on this. Now, this is, that's not a charter violation. Me personally, I'm getting something else that I heard with that, that be my decision. I won't resign from one board or the other because it's not a violation of the charter. I'm not going to let that be used as a political weapon for nobody. and nobody else on this board. So I would not let them use that as an excuse. They can use that as an excuse. People have a right not to like me. They have a right not to vote for me. They have all those rights, but that excuse is not that. I can honor all of those. I can honor all those. But they're not gonna use this as an excuse. If they do, then it'll be taken further. And that would be a real poker and legal.
So, Mr. King,
They
do
do
you
that.
serve on another board?
Huh?
Do you serve on another city board?
No,
Okay.
I don't serve on this city
That
board.
wasn't the reason.
No, well, I'm gonna tell you where it came from, because it's something that was pushed by the mayor. He tried to tell me that, and I know the charter, and Mr. Harris was there when the mayor brought it up to me. It also was brought to me just before that meeting by the chief of staff, telling me, but what I want people to understand here is when this board make a decision, it's not questionable by the mayor, city council, or anyone. We did this in 2020. This board is immune from anything. The mayor is not to keep of the charter, the council is not to keep of the charter. This board and the charter, if they had a problem with it, and they thought the process would have been is to bring it to the board. This board, I don't care whether it's the mayor, chief of staff, any council person, say we think you have a charter violation. Investigate, we need to know. And we could have answered all things, but I would not be playing politics with it. There's not gonna be excuses. And with that, but on the other hand, I also understand at that meeting I was looked at, someone made a statement that said that I made, that I never made. Now that's one thing that I cut the line on. Number one, when you attack my name, when you attack my integrity, you have went to a point that there's no stop to it. Now, I'm saying this to the board. One of my family, from my grandfather on, he set a standard. Mother just passed less than 2 months. She set a standard and left me alone. Standard bearer for the family. And when you start attacking me with a lie, I can take anything else, but once you lie, I don't care what your reason. Now you said something, and I'm going on the attack. You're not gonna use a lie. No one with my name on it and check my integrity. I'm saying this to the board because I think that I respect this board. I think everyone, this board has set a high standard. I set a standard. I haven't personally looked at the tape and seen it, but if it happened, I would have to lay the board, and I'm not gonna put this board integrity out there. But then I have to do things with my name, and I'm gonna attack. I think people sometimes take my soft voice and my quiet demeanor. It's something they shouldn't. But I would not. I won't stand for it, and I'm blessed with a lot of gifts. The Lord blessed me with a lot of gifts to fight back, to honor my family, and I would do that. But I would not do it. if someone came at my name, like if I see it, anyone, then you will, it's something that no one probably had ever seen, me and my personality, but I'm going.
Go ahead and say it's gonna be Alabama up in this joint.
We don't have no folding chair.
So I'm letting, and I want the board to know that decision, if I am, but I don't want this board to know that fight that comes to political, personal. And when you can do anything you want, you can say anything you want. But when you start lying on me, and putting that out there public, then that's a problem. And last time I was taught by all of them old guys in Alabama in the 60s. Again, it's not gonna happen. I just want the board to know that we'll see. What I've heard has been someone's telling me they will see it. They lied on me. I haven't seen it yet, but when I do, then I start what I'm gonna do then, because I'm going. If you come at my reputation, I'm coming to destroy you. And that's,
Say less, Mr. King, say less.
I will say this. I think it is, you judge a man according to the works he has done.
Right.
And to judge a man based solely off of association is not fair. I can honestly say, Mr.
No,
King,
it's not fair, but
Mr.
it
King,
happens.
and it happens.
A lot.
Mr. King has been a good chairman. Mr. King has kept anger down on this board. He is. Because there have been times Mr. King has said, "All right, Mr. Harris," but no, Mr. King is a civil rights hero. Mr. King, and this is what he told me. He walked on the Edmund Pettus Bridge with John Lewis and them.
first time.
The first time. He didn't go the second time.
He left that.
When they whipped on him.
When they needed to describe it.
No, that happened the first time.
That happened the first time.
I was a 16-year-old kid.
But-
They didn't let the kids go back the second time. But,
See.
No, but no, that was the first time. And
But nonetheless,
Veteran?
he was there. He's a veteran. But he also champions the rights of other people. And to not appoint somebody, not off of their work ethic, and not off of their righteous causes, I agree. It's a strong one. That's just me. But I just want to go on record that Mr. King has done a fantastic job as our chairman and as a board member. And the simple fact that he is loyal to this board and to the city of Flint speaks volumes.
Are you saying you're not gonna be reappointed or what?
well, I don't know what that is, but if I've been someone that's attacking me public with a lie, this board would be the place for me to, what I'm going to start doing.
We can head on.
I trust this board.
We can head
I
on.
don't, this board is, like I say, this is the best board that we have had in the 4 years I've been here. I had no doubt in my mind that you guys is gonna move on. This board don't really need me. Because I know, when I look around at you guys, this ain't good hands. So I have no doubt about it, but my personal fact, when somebody starts person attacking me, it's a personal attack. And it's down to may the last man win. And I'm very equipped to handle that. I just don't wanna
Mr.
say
King, say
that.
less.
Say
Say
that.
less.
Say that.
My question, I'm sorry, Carol, you want to
Go
go
ahead.
ahead?
I just want to say this. As being a member of the community and one of the heavily lied upon people in the community, I have heard some things that if I didn't know myself, I'd be like, "Ooh, she's a monster." Most of the things I've been accused of, I wish I had the nerves to try. I'd have been left Flint, okay? I think when people are saying malicious things about you to destroy your reputation and to bring you down, if what they had on you had any validity and they were so interested in tearing you down, they walked across the street to the courthouse. So you gotta have facts, or they be calling the attorney general. Those are the type of people you get in touch with when somebody is perplexed in their position or not standing upright as they are pretending or perceiving other people to believe. So with that being said, Mr. King, knowing Flint the way I do, keep handling your business. If they really got something, it ain't gonna be he say, she say. It's gonna be in the newspaper. It's gonna be documented. Okay? The Flint Journal or whatever their name is now, Village Inn, or Flint Village,
East Village.
East Village, all of them. If it's any inkling of truth, they gonna speak your name. And until they do it, I wouldn't worry about these little street folk.
So, Ms. Bowman, can I ask you a
Don't
question?
let that upset you.
And this is just me asking. If, Mr. King, if another appointment is not pushed through in 90 days, is he automatically reinstated to a full term on the board?
Charlie don't say that.
Charter doesn't say that, but that issue did come up at the city council meeting after his resolution failed. And they asked Bill, the city attorney, what his opinion was on whether he could remain and how long. And Bill's response was, I'm not sure. So he didn't give any legal opinion on that. But my question is, based on the opinion here, is MTA a city or a county board? That kills the whole issue. When I go online, it says MTA Flint. And then it's, it talks about the Flint MTA, which implies that it's a city board. But when I look at the board members, they're all over the county.
Yeah, I thought it was
So,
myself.
it could be, but I'm saying we need to find out. That's the answer to the issue. Is it a county board or is it a city board? That goes to hush mode, and then you don't even have to, go in your bag of tricks.
Oh, I'm not even going, that part is, I'm not even fit. This board had already made a decision on that, what is the city.
But you
County
disclosed
board.
that.
We did that in 2020, so
Which
that's
is
not
it.
a point.
So in 2020,
You disclosed
they didn't remove
that.
you.
Right, you
No,
disclosed it.
because, so I'm not,
So how's it coming back to as an issue? What am I missing? If it was resolved in
That's what I'm trying to
2020,
figure out.
if this was addressed and resolved in 2020,
Yes, I
and that's
remember
a
us
county board,
bringing that up.
yeah,
what's the issue?
what the issue? Where it came up in the council.
And then,
And council was saying, and it was put there, and I know who put it there, and I know when, that, and some of the council people, I understand, say, is the reason why they wouldn't go for the appointment,
Oh, because of that.
because of that statement
Oh,
was
they
there.
didn't go for you.
So that's what that, but I mean, they got a right, that's not a,
Well, we can educate them on that, though.
well, we can do that, but they got a right to vote, for whoever they want,
Yeah,
not to
but
vote.
if
But
this is
they're
your
not gonna
reason.
use something.
Yeah, if
that's
this is
not in
your
there.
reason for not voting for me and you were misinformed, then I need to let you know that.
but then also,
That's the board.
it was brought up in discussion by several other people that me and Mr. King have had, that it was said that Mr. King was in violation of the charter by being on the MTA board. But Mr. King has specifically told them that an opinion was rendered already in regards
That's what I'm
to
saying,
that. But what happens is it keeps coming
So
back
did
up. in
Barack
conversation.
Obama's birth.
It was illegal.
Okay, so did Barack Obama's birth certificate. But just because somebody keep bringing something up,
I should not be crucified because you received to accept the fact that I'm an American or Genesee County is not a city board, it's a county board, and that's not a conflict. We didn't
Or is
invest.
it a board within
Well,
itself?
but the thing is, they investigated this. That's supposed to check that out because the fact that I was on the school board came up. He was on MTA, and he also brought. Was you still on? Or you had just got off the housing commission? What was going on?
That was
Tennessee Land Bank.
Yeah.
They won't take my name wrong, but I have to participate on that group. They said have me on that appointment, but I haven't made a meeting there in 6-7 years. I have issue with how they do things.
Right.
And so, but appointment is set for that. The reason I brought that up is I'm not gonna let
The meeting.
There's evidence?
Yeah, that's the meeting.
that's me.
It wasn't much y'all talking.
I don't know if this board want to use that. I will look at it.
Is that the stars again?
That's not the bus person.
Can you pause that for a second? Because I didn't hear what was his rationale?
So his rationale was that, one, we have not appointed an ombudsman, which according to our consideration is our board business and not council business. The second thing is he did not like how the process was handled. Now, I want to know is who tipped him off to the process in which we were using to interview our candidates. 3, then he said we were not prepared during the budgetary meetings. Me and Mr. King and Ms. Little sat in on the budgetary meetings, and the acting CFO was not prepared because she only had 2 weeks time. I'm sorry.
Relax.
She only had 2 weeks to get up to speed, and she clearly said, I am not familiar with the ombudsperson's position in regards to the finances, and it was agreed that Ms. Burns said we need to do a callback for you guys so that we can get all of the proper information, and a callback was never issued. And so it seems to me that Mr. Murphy's reasoning for not voting for Mr. King is because it seems like he doesn't like our process, but our process, if I'm correct or not, is none of his business.
Okay, keep playing. I just wanted to make sure I understood.
And then I'm trying to understand how is he so unhappy with our processes when they can't get the budget passed, they can't get through a meeting,
They don't get along with each other.
they telling off citizens, they passing licks, he running up on somebody like he gonna bust a grape, like he working for Welch's. I mean, we are all passionate about the work. I mean,
you know the interesting thing about that, and they brought up the MTA. The council had not, they're supposed to have a representative on that board. They haven't had one on there in almost 2 years on the MTA board. Their appointment's supposed to be there, it's supposed to be one of the council. Her Wimper was the last one that represented, And since he have been gone,
They
they.
ain't had a representative.
Oh,
So they got all these spots that's not being represented, but they gonna tell you how to represent.
Yeah, in the city.
Mm.
But that is amazing.
That's right.
Oh, and he also brought up the simple fact that, he said in regards to our so-called subpoena power in issuing letters and requesting council people to come before an investigation. Mayor, I just want to make a friendly reminder that this board's power is to investigate any council, anything that violates the charter and the charter is broken. We can investigate those issues. And the board does have subpoena power per the charter, as Mr. Murphy has stated several times, as he has sat on the charter and wrote the charter and was very specific in writing the duties of the Ethics and Accountability Board. But then he calls out in a council meeting of our so-called powers. I just wanted to say that. Let me please, I need to unlock this so I can hear the rest of it. I'm sorry.
It is 7:56, so we want to be around.
Yeah, I got you. I want to hear the rest of this.
Right now.
Hold on.
Nice name. However, the ENA board, I do have concerns with. It's now been 5 years since we've appointed, maybe more. And
The board?
most of the time,
Get it.
council may ask even previous to this one, questions about behavior other than the one council person who creates that behavior. And I've heard that they've approved to investigate that, but it's a little too late at this point for me. I just don't feel they're effective, so it's gonna be a no for me. I'm sorry.
Who was that talking?
That was Councilwoman Eva Worthing. She says that
That's
one,
assaulting
And
everybody.
let's be very careful about what we say, since
Right,
we
right.
have authorized an investigation into her
Right.
actions. Let's
She-
be very careful about what we say.
I will, I'll take the bite out.
Okay.
She has said that it's been 5 years, I guess, since we were dealing with complaints about Councilman Mays. I don't know about that one because I've just only been on the board for a year. So her thing was that she didn't personally have anything against Mr. King, but I guess in the way that the board has been flowing in regards to Councilman Mays and not handling that issue, that's why she didn't vote for his reappointment.
Got a lot to do.
But it was in the first round? Madam Chair. You know, I don't have much use for that. I think it's going to go report. I did ask you if you
John, man.
were okay with this appointment. I didn't know that it came from you or that it came from the administration. I didn't feel it was really clear in the resolution. And you said you were. So I think that we need to support the appointments of our fellow council members. So I'm going to go ahead and support you on this resolution, but I really do not like this board. And I would love to find somebody to appoint to this position, but no one's willing to volunteer in my board. So
It is.
anyway,
Cause he won't do nothing about taking care of them.
just like I supported Councilman Burns' pick for Billy Mansfield, which we approved
That's all they do.
in advance
They do their
resolution.
job for this kind of
So,
mess.
yeah, there we go.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I like to count votes, so I can, I'm not sure it matters, but I will be supporting this. I think we're all early in on maybe a imperfect solution to the big problem. I think that everybody is working hard
that without the proper representation of the second one. Thank you.
Not a problem. All right, so, looks like that everyone besides, Sheffield. You want to keep here, so anyone else has anything else? All right, so I'll go ahead and do like my first round. And I understand, your concerns are valid, and again, we want the best people to serve, so, although, I selected Mr. King, a lot of people, they don't want to serve on that board, and Mr. King, he wanted to serve and continue his service, and a lot of the residents feel that he is a balanced member of the beginning board. But in any event, I want to do what's in the best interest of this committee, of this board, and of the city. And so if you all do not feel that he's the best fit, then it looks like we have to open this up for a little while longer, and we see what we can. Okay? No hard feelings at all. And we will go on to round two. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Through you
This is the legal part.
he will continue to serve, even if this was turned, because this is turned down. I know if the appointment wasn't brought forward, he would continue to serve until the appointment was sent. The votes currently does he have to give up his position, or does he still continue to serve until the appointment?
That's actually an issue that a lot of ARPA has been looking into. I don't have any quick answer. There's a number of boards in which it explicitly says that the members serve until they're replaced. There are others where the boards or the commissions explicitly say that they serve only for the length of the term they're appointed. And then there's a number that are silent on that issue. And so we're looking into that actually right now. We kind of maybe just figure out exactly what the status is of the appointments to those boards.
So,
That's the question we're trying to figure out. It's not just specific to him. As I said, there's a number of boards in which their statutory or charter, authorizations are leave that question unanswered.
That's a problem for this council. Is that a valid vote that he made to get the council?
We can try to prioritize that again. If you know the administration has clear answer on that.
Does this vote affect the person who we vote out, voted down? Does outcome change if we decide to drop it?
I don't know, because we're still considering exactly all the factors that are going on. We basically identified
Are we doing the vote on that? I gotta get up and vote that.
We don't have any other action.
Okay, you can see that.
You can get all the time.
We need to vote. So, you want to go back to it, then you gotta go. Oh, what's the have six?
What's that, six? What's that for?
Yeah, what's the have four?
Okay.
Yeah.
What y'all voting on?
Contract. False contract.
Yeah, it's time.
Oh, video game.
Uh-huh.
Oh, y'all should be able to handle that. Y'all shouldn't need no heavy hitters for that.
Tech.
You never know, you may need you to heavy hit.
Spectacle production.
Yeah.
So, after to that, I guess when I was here, this statement was made, was not made at that meeting. So I guess this was made probably between other people. I should have looked at that before the meeting. I normally do that. I normally, if I can't make a meeting, I normally put it up even if I'm on the road. So as you said, I'm gonna take some of that anguish from that statement, because I didn't hear, and I thought someone said.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm gonna
oh.
leave. Well, that's why you need to have all the facts.
That's right.
Before you, when I was in the bar business, I got to the area. I always had a napkin they would send me, and I put on the table with the one to say, disengage brain before putting mouth in gear. So, and that's what you used to do. Sometimes we just jump off, but on that note, we're going to move to Paul. Contract.
How are we paying Paul?
That's what your
Well,
basic,
as of now, to make sure we got, we never got in the budget, or know what we can. I pay Paul. I donate. I'm not say pay. I donate for him to do this. And I don't have a problem with that. It's probably needs to see what this board is doing. So I took that on myself. And but now we're voting on to have that put it in the budget to pay Paul on his contract.
You talking about the budget that the committee's gonna be putting together and presenting to the board?
Mm-hmm.
The proposed budget that's coming? Because we don't
No,
currently have a
I'm
budget.
talking about the budget that we already have for the post office.
Oh,
That-
you
that-
got money for that in the line item?
it's not, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it could be bigger. But one of the biggest miscellaneous, one of the biggest was whether the decision was gonna be made to pay him monthly or bi-weekly. That was, whether they wanted me to submit the invoice once a month.
Paul,
You got a preference?
I want to be paid by the minute. Monthly. Every 2 weeks would be great.
Okay. I'm
how
trying
we do that? that
Or
we
as
pay-
billed, you know what I mean?
So it'd be for 4 recordings, is what you're saying, because we meet. No, it'd be for 2, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So I think it'd be better, the month would probably be better.
Do it every 2 weeks,
He said the month.
The month.
He was saying a month.
because it'd be for 2 recordings, but
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm fine with
Yeah.
that.
Because we do a
Yeah, but
month.
if we do about a minute, we're gonna have to do it in roll of pennies.
But if we do if we do about a month, we could do, we'd be able to do September, October, November, December.
Right.
So that would be what, 4 more months?
Quarterly.
But yeah, it's starting, this starts in August, correct?
We'll start now.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, so
I
4
just want to
more.
be certain how to submit the invoice,
So you have a professional services line item.
Yes.
That, I don't see a miscellaneous, but you got 5,500 professional services that it could be charged to.
Okay.
Okay.
And it don't have to go through the
You don't
vendor
have
stuff
to get
because
it
you're
approved.
already a
You don't have to
vendor.
get it approved or anything.
No, as long as you all already
Okay.
approved it, so.
Then we
My only concern is there's been no RFP. And if they're gonna give you grief about not getting additional bids.
So normally, before you choose a particular vendor, you have to do an RFP so that you can, get away from any potential claims of bias and all of that. And what he's saying is that gonna be an issue?
Well, I would say this, by you already being in the PO system for the city of Flint, it shouldn't be because I didn't get an option of what if I want to choose from Office Max or Staples.
Also, I am kind of a sole source because there's nobody else in the city that wants to do this for public access.
Which is one of the exceptions to the
to the room, so
So I don't-
we're the only one,
Well, I mean, check with purchasing. If purchasing says it should go through an RFP process, we go through an
And
RFP
then, right,
process.
they'll
We
let
open
me
the
know.
window, we see who
They let me
applies.
know. They let
Paul
me know
might
right
win,
away.
Paul might lose.
They let you know right away. They're good at responding.
I ain't mad at none of that.
Let's just do it the right way, whatever way that is.
Oh, and, one other thing, I think when I was with Ms. Bill
Well, that's my paperwork, Mr. King.
It's not mine. Oh, that's yours.
Uh-huh.
I just ran here.
Before you move on, Mr. King, did we vote on that? I don't think we
No,
voted.
Hold on, honey.
we need to.
Vote to authorize payment for the meetings to be recorded. Because even if we have to go through a process, as Paul starts to record as we ongoing, we can make sure he gets compensated for those meetings. Because it may take 2 months to get,
Compensation.
yeah. So we need to make sure it's legit as of today. It won't be today, but it'll be authorized for all future recordings.
That's a motion.
So moved.
Second.
At the rate of $55 and per hour.
All right.
Any discussion? No discussion? Roll call.
Karen Mac, Joseph King,
Yes.
Linda Booth,
Yes.
Patrick Julian,
Yes.
William Harris.
Yes.
Paige Russo,
Yes.
Michelle Bowling.
Yes.
6-0.
All right. Okay. Anybody have a closing remark?
Closing remark, I'll take my bite out of this. One, I kind of find it appalling that a city council person makes a remark and not appointing somebody because of they don't care for the processes that a board itself has set in place. That's number one. The other thing is I kind of find it an affront by saying that the Ethics and Accountability Board is useless. But they may think that, but we're still charter mandated. Mr. King is a respectable man of this community. I love this board. My city councilman asked me to serve on this board, and I was thankful to serve on this board. I don't have to be paid to serve on this board. I'm not a Flintstone. I'm a native Texan. I'm born in Houston, Texas. But I love Flint, and I love the city that I serve on, and I do this because I love our city. I love Mr. King, and I love everybody on this board. So this board, we're moving in the right direction.
Anyone else? No, enough. If not, I have, and you're right, the one thing I would not on this board or another board is that elected officials start bad-mouthing people that volunteer to serve on any board in this city for free. And they're getting paid, and you appoint people and you badmouth them. And I would not stand for that, and I would be very vocal on that. Your people spending more time here than a lot of your council people for free and doing the work. And the problem, what they got to now that this board is working and holding them accountable. And they're angry because they don't want to be held accountable. But there's one thing, there's a line you don't cross. People do the best they can because when you put them there, they try to do what they can. And if you put them there and don't support them, that's the most ridiculous and the most, I must say, most trifling thing that I've heard.
That's right.
It is. It is. And it makes me angry when anyone can start doing that to people that is volunteer, especially elected officials. I mean, it's, all right, I'm gonna get back where I was.
Okay, so let me just get my 2 cents, because I think we really need to be far more careful about the language that we use, our word choice, our tone, because we are the Ethics and Accountability Board. We have to be bigger and better. I understand you're gonna have people, even elected officials, that's gonna call us out our name. Put your big boy pants on, or skirt.
Panties. Okay.
Whatever, and I'm just saying, we cannot, go off on a tangent because somebody called us a name.
That's
Or because we don't like why they didn't vote for somebody. They have a right to vote and support whoever they want to. They really didn't even have to give a reason as to why they wasn't gonna support somebody. That's them, that's their call. We need to maintain. And that means that, because you hear a council person make a complaint, you can't go all in on that complaint like, it's gospel. It may be, but let's go through the process to get there.
Oh, I got you. It may be gospel, but let's, yeah.
Yes, and that process is what gets the buy-in from the people. They can respect the process even if they don't like the outcome.
But they can respect the process.
They can respect the process. So we gotta stop being super sensitive. We gotta stop saying, I don't like this and I can't stand that and this ain't right. It's all factual, don't get me wrong. But for us to hold somebody else accountable and to say that's unethical, and we sitting here, that's this and that's that. You know what I'm saying? That's the pot calling the kettle black.
Right.
And that's not why we're here. Yes, we're volunteers, but we signed up to do a big job. And it's not for the weak, it's not for the sensitive. So we got to be very careful because I hear so much all day today that's concerning. I'm over here cringing like, ooh, Lord. Because it could come back and bite you. Especially if we vote to censure somebody or make a recommendation for a reprimand, they can go back and get the tape and say, well, you said you didn't care for me. You said you didn't like me. You said I'm this and I'm that. The biasness, it's got to go.
That's right.
It's got to go.
And the one we're talking about is looking at it right now, live. So you're absolutely
Correct.
right. And we have to set a standard.
We do.
Above everybody.
That's it.
And we have to keep each other in check. And that's the only way we're gonna move. Like, we're only gonna have emotional humor. But when we start dripping off, it's up to each of us to try to calm the other one down and get back to facts.
Right.
And I apologize about my tone. Yeah.
It's fine.
No, you're absolutely right, because my tone can
bite.
My tone can bite. It doesn't help because I'm heavy voiced either.
And you sound like a preacher, like all on top of that.
You just waiting for the hoop.
And
just waiting for the hoop.
And on that note, and I guess I got way out there because I thought something was said at the council meeting. I had to apologize to the residents of the city that I got off of, that I heard, I was told, and I was listened to
Yeah.
it. It was not that, and I hope that is not me. And I don't, definitely something I put to the public. But one thing before we close too, is I had that one thing we need at the Ombudsman office, because when we get this stuff that confidential, and we had to turn in, we need to be able to shred it. There should be a shredder in that office. So that
You don't have a shredder?
No, I'm ordering one.
Okay.
But I ordered from Staples. I go ahead.
Okay.
So I was trying to get a bigger one from Amazon, but he's right because I'm actually taking.
Yeah.
So
do we have to keep complaint question legally?
You should keep them for a certain time period.
But see, they're still always in this database.
Right.
Even if I close the case out, that it's been completed, that it's been we're done with the investigation, it's still in the database. It can always be looked back up.
Yeah, but these days we don't need
Computer.
paper copy.
Surgeon.
Except me, because I have a problem going into finding stuff in the computer when I put it in. I lose it.
But yeah,
Any other
I'll
discussion?
order one tomorrow.
Anyone else got a discussion?
No.
All that. Well,
All lines clear?
Motion for adjournment?
we are
I make a
adjourned.
motion to.
Well, done.
All right.
Oh, thanks to everybody.
Thanks for your
Here we
professional
meeting today.
advice.